read, Commissioners? Franklin County Board of County Commissioners now in session for this regular meeting Wednesday, February 18th. It's good to see everyone here this morning. Just a few items of housekeeping before we get started. Thank you all for being here today. I will let you know that as commissioners, we intend to be respectful to you today. We would ask you to be the same. I know there's a lot of emotion behind what we're talking about today, but let's put the emotions aside and let's just have real discussion. With that, Mr. Marone, is there never mind. That thing's ringing or something.
Got an echo. I'm sorry. Okay.
All right, let's please stand for the invocation of the pledge. Commissioner Ward, can you lead us, please?
Lord, we come to you today as we conduct our county business. We pray for everyone in the room. We pray for everyone here today to express their concerns. We pray for you to guide our decisions and everything we do and every decision we make. Lord, we pray that you guide us into the right direction. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Marone, are there any amendments needed to the agenda as it's been published?
No, sir. Good morning, Commissioners. No, so the only change we might have during the agenda is Mr. Shepard. He is on your agenda, but he's also your RCSC. Yes, he's also your representative there. They have a 9 o'clock meeting this morning. It should not go past 10 o'clock, so we might have to move him as we move along in the agenda.
All right. So,
Mr. Chairman, I will have to leave early today. I have an appointment in Tallahassee that I cannot get out of, so
okay.
want you aware of that.
All right. Thank you for that, Commissioner. So with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as it's been published.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Anderson. It's been seconded by Commissioner Croom. Any discussion, Commissioners, before we vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Up next, we need a motion to pay the county's bills.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ward that has been seconded by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Right, at this time, we're going to move to the next thing on the agenda, and that's the discussion about ICE with the Sheriff's Office. Whoever's going to discuss, please come forward. And while they're coming, I will say we have plenty of speaker cards. We will give you ample time to speak. Let's all be heard today. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners, members of the public. I'm Captain Angela Millender. I'm the Assistant Jail Administrator with the Franklin County Sheriff's Office. I've never addressed the board, so if I fumble a little bit, please forgive me.
It's all good.
So we are here this morning seeking an MOU, that's a Memorandum of Understanding between the county and the Sheriff's Office to facilitate discussions and agreements with Sabat Consulting regarding the housing of ICE juveniles. Sabat Consulting specializes in the Office of ICE Integration. Their expertise in developing, executing, and operating migrant criminal detention operations is essential for minimizing compliance issues throughout the contract term. They will serve as the county's independent advisor and oversight consultant, providing both on-site and remote services to ensure compliance with ICE regulations. Additionally, they will be present for any audits, inspections, or other meetings required by ICE. The concerns raised by the county attorney have already been discussed with Sabat. A representative from Sabat stated that the attorney could redline any of these concerns and adjust the language from that point. None of the issues mentioned were anything they were unwilling to address, and they are happy to collaborate with us throughout this process.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I probably do, but I'm going to let the public speak
Okay.
first because they may bring up what I'm going to ask. So.
Not a problem.
Same here, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm just taking these in the order that they are. I didn't move them or change them. Ms. Lynn Wilder, do you wish to speak this morning? Please come forward, state your name for the record. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, I won't take 5 minutes. Name is Lynn Wilder, Apalachicola, and I wish I wasn't first, but.
Sorry.
That's okay. I guess I'm here just to say that this is, I don't know what's really going on. I don't know what's going on. So why we would want to house juveniles here in Franklin County at this point with the limited information that we have. I watched AJ yesterday on Facebook, and I've heard from other people what the reports are, who's going to be doing what, and it really is so confusing now. I'm not sure how you can make a reasonable decision. And that the presentation I saw yesterday on Facebook, I was hoping to see here this morning and have some back and forth discussion.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lynn. Ms. Martha Harris?
I am prepared. I have a paper. My name is Martha Harris. I live in Apalachicola. I've been here about 21 years. I'm speaking to this proposal to house juvenile males ages 13 to 17 in our Franklin County Jail. I'm a retired minister, and that doesn't mean exactly I have God's ear, but it does mean my perspective is more of a spiritual one. However, I'll begin with some statistics. ICE, which had 39,000 detainees in custody just 1 year ago, recently said that its detention re-engineering initiative will provide capacity to hold more than 92,000 persons in its warehouses. This extension that I think we're talking about here into jail space is meant to be a temporary measure, most likely between arrest and deportation. But we, the people of Franklin County, would become part of that same expansion of housing people unjustly, in my opinion. The current administration is openly building policies that remove people from the fabric of our neighborhoods, people who live here and contribute greatly to the welfare of our community. Families who've lived here for years lose status overnight. Legal protections disappear by announcement. The Department of Homeland Security now recruits agents through an accelerated 47-day training process, a number chosen for its symbolism and not providing for readiness. And that policy is enacted often with force. Certainly not necessarily here, but we've seen it in so many places. And that's the system we would be participating in a greater degree than we do now. The system produces exactly what it was built to produce: fear, escalation, and dividing people from us and them. The sheriff, in his comments yesterday on Facebook, said that he hoped it was not true that our immigrant neighbors fear the police, but it is true. Detention centers are bad, and certainly they might be worse in many cases than jail, but that doesn't make for a good argument to lock children up. Children from somewhere else, far from their own families, their own network of community. We would not be warehousing our own children, but somebody else's children. Is that supposed to make it better? Especially in Apalachicola, we increasingly have a tourist economy known for many things: hospitality, beaches, fishing, craft beer, increasingly, and an old Florida vibe. This is not that. This action would be a blot on all the communities of Franklin County, and it is unethical and immoral. Jesus said, the first and greatest commandment is this: to love
God and to love your neighbor as yourself. The best way to practice our Christianity, I believe, is to love our neighbor. And who is our neighbor? Jesus said in the parable of the Good Samaritan in Luke's Gospel that it is not just someone who lives close to us, who lives in our proximity, who looks like us and talks like us, but even someone from elsewhere, even far away, who doesn't like these boys. Let's not lock them up here. It may be politically expedient, but it is morally corrupt. Thank you.
Thank you. Teresa Bester.
Hi, I'm Teresa Bester. I live in East Point, and I've been a full-time resident since 2016. I'm retired now, but before that, I was the State Director of Adult Education for the state of Florida, which includes secondary ESOL and migrant education. So I've had a lot of experience with ICE in the past. And even as far as 20 years ago, when it was a fairly new agency, and they were all federal employees, they were problematic in many areas. At the time, they had small printers and they could go around, and if they saw something so small as a Haitian flag hanging from the rearview mirror in your car, they could print out a warrant and try to arrest you. So this is something that's been going on for a long time, and they were full-time federal employees at the time, not the part-time mercenary type person that we have now. I've seen severe excesses of judicial power occur just over those small things. And the people actually involved in it thought it was funny. They actually enjoyed what they were doing. And we've seen that escalate to a stage that is really quite appalling. So I have real concerns about that, in addition to the fact that this age student will require resources that Franklin County typically has difficulties with. I know that sometimes we have difficulty in recruiting and retaining qualified teachers. These students will need educational services. They'll need other services that could possibly withdraw resources from existing populations here in the county. And thirdly, I just want to say that several years ago, when we were faced with another tragedy of a school shooting, I remember our sheriff saying, "You don't have to worry. If something like that occurs, we will rush the building." And my first thought was, yeah, they would. I knew that our sheriff's department would rush the building. And this is the type of sheriff's department that I want to see continue in Franklin County for a number of reasons. A sheriff's department that is in favor of mercy, in favor of justice, and not in incarceration, especially for this age of student who, 13 to 19, that's very young. That's middle school all the way, not even through high school. So I really do want to stand on record and say I do oppose this for a number of reasons, but I think that mercy and justice are the main one. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Penny Long-Merrier. Did I say that right? I'm sorry.
Marler. That's okay. That's perfectly
sorry.
fine.
Me and my glasses.
That's okay. My name is Penny Marler, and I live in Apalachicola, Florida. I am here, Mr. Chairman, to urge the County Commission to reject the proposed ICE Memorandum of Understanding. I'm a retired professor from Samford University in Birmingham, Alabama. I have lived full-time in Apalachicola for 7 years. I was drawn to this town by its openness, historic diversity, and small-town intimacy. Over the past year, I have watched in dismay as our tightly knit community of Hispanic neighbors, one by one, are arrested, detained, and/or deported for the primary misdemeanor of driving without a license and the civil status of being undocumented. It has been devastating for families, friends, and I think indeed the whole community. I know my Hispanic neighbors as hardworking, generous, law-abiding, and family-oriented residents of Franklin County. I read to their precocious children at Franklin County School. I mentor an honor graduate, and I drive mothers to school. A little over 3 weeks ago, I gave a longtime landscaper a ride from East Point to Apalachicola. With such pride, he showed me a picture of his 17-year-old daughter. A week and a half later, he was arrested while looking for a ride from a job in East Point, removed to another county jail in less than 24 hours, transported to Miami, and then deported. He had lived and worked here for 17 years. As an educator who specializes in psychosocial and moral development, I'm especially concerned about a proposed program to detain immigrant adolescents at the Franklin County Jail. The 1997 Flores Settlement Agreement established national standards through the Office of Refugee Resettlement for the detention, treatment, and release of minors in federal immigration custody, including a rapid transfer of custody, standards of care in detention in a least restrictive environment, and the release of children to parents, legal guardians, or suitable sponsors without necessary delay. It remains in effect despite inexplicable litigation from the current administration. What the sheriff presented on Facebook yesterday is very concerning. It involves immigrant adolescents who have committed serious crimes. What are the crimes of these adolescents, and how are these cases to be adjudicated? Adolescents, as we all, are considered innocent until proven guilty, and if the crime is not a misdemeanor but a felony, why would they not be processed in the juvenile justice system? The juvenile justice system, after all, has a goal of rehabilitation for children rather than punishment as adults. Would the Franklin County Jail be holding adolescents separate from the juvenile justice system to deport them without due process? And for how long? And if they are not from Franklin County, won't that be a barrier to due process and necessary family and legal support for children ages 13 to 17? The juvenile justice system, along with the Office of Refugee Resettlement, are the appropriate agencies to handle adolescent immigrants who have been arrested. Despite the good intentions of the sheriff and the motivations of ICE contractors, the whole community is divided between those who are increasingly afraid of or even exploit immigrants, those who are concerned for their dehumanization and welfare, and immigrants themselves who are paying the price with their liberties and lives. Please do not further traumatize our community by inviting deeper entanglement with ICE. Thank you.
Thank you. Conley.
May I approach on the lawyers? Can I get
He'll come to you.
there's just a graph in here I want y'all to see.
It's fine.
Get enough copies.
Good to see you.
Esteemed commissioners, good to see you, some neighbors, others of you I've served oysters to, others of you I hope to serve oysters to soon. I was raised in an immigrant family just outside of Tallahassee. I now live in Franklin County where I grow oysters in Apalachicola Bay, the greatest place on earth to grow oysters. Between my time in Tallahassee and my time here, I was an attorney prosecuting violations of the Constitution. I'm no longer an attorney. I love being an oyster farmer, and that's all I am, an oyster farmer, not an attorney. But my love and respect for the United States Constitution remains intact. And I felt a duty here to speak plainly when I see it under threat. I'm urging you to reject any contract to house immigrant children on behalf of ICE for these 3 reasons. All right. So first is the legal risk to Franklin County is severe. Right. Since the start of 2025, since the start of this surge, of deportations. Federal habeas corpus petitions. These are legal challenges to unlawful detention have increased 100-fold. If you'll flip to the back page of there, you can see it as a graph. It's quite startling. Okay, I'll get it. This is known as, the habeas corpus petition is known as the Great Writ. It's the last line of defense when a person has been unlawfully detained. Habeas corpus is a command from the court, bring me the body. These lawsuits name defendants. The first named defendant is not ICE. It's not going to be Sabat, the private contractor, right, selling the contract. It's the entity that is physically holding the person. That's the sheriff and the county commissioners. That means you. Signing a contract to house immigrant children is stepping into a mess that we don't want to step into. This explosion in habeas petitions is not the result of frivolous filings. The increase is definitely telling you that ICE is doing something that is very damaging and unpopular, but it's the number of habeas petitions that have been granted that tells you the tactics of ICE are actually unlawful. And that's the second reason to reject the proposed contract. Right? Number two is just that ICE is routinely violating the Constitution. I love the Constitution. I spent my legal career with it, and I am appalled at the disrespect that ICE has shown it. The Fourth Amendment prohibits seizures without warrants and probable cause. ICE has been pulling people from homes and workplaces without either. The Fifth Amendment guarantees due process for any person, citizen or not, adult or child. ICE has been detaining people, including children, without meaningful hearings and adequate process. This is not just aggressive enforcement. When you house somebody on ICE's behalf, you are not a neutral party. Right? You become the instrument of an unconstitutional detention. It does not matter how clean your jail is, and it's very clean, how good the food is. The only time in my career I've ever heard...
Sir, please address the commission.
Yes, sorry, this is... it is a clean... Food is good, you treat people well, right? But the conditions inside the jail cannot cure the constitutional violations that created the detention. Right? When you take on that detention function, you become part of the constitutional violation. You may have been told different, which brings me to the third reason to reject this proposal. And the third reason being ICE is not a trustworthy partner. The contractor even less so. To do its hardest, dirtiest work, ICE relies on willing, and now increasingly with each act of new bad faith on the part of ICE, less willing collaborators, right, who they promise to pay very well. They work through private middlemen, like Sabat, the entity that's approaching this county. These companies profit from filled beds and bear none of your exposure when litigation arrives. When a violation occurs, the contractor might be standing next to you when the inspector comes. They will not be standing next to you in court. You will be there alone. And it seems you've been assured that only dangerous criminals who Franklin County would be asked to hold. Now, we've heard this before, and it's safe at this point to assume this is deceptive marketing on the part of the contractor. ICE claims it's going only after dangerous criminals. In fact, only 5 to 8% of the people detained by ICE have serious criminal violations. Here in Franklin County, by the way, the percentage of our neighbors who we've lost to those who have had serious criminal violations, zero. Right? But most of all, if a young person actually commits a crime, like steals a car, for example, they go into the juvenile justice system. Right? Then at the end of their sentence, if they're sentenced for something like stealing a car, a serious crime, if they're not a citizen, then they may be deported. The children who are going to be sent under this contract are not criminals. Their detention is going to be based on their immigration status. So those are my three takeaways. You're being asked to sign a contract that, one, puts this county in severe legal risk because, two, the contractor, the dude who's asking you to dance, disrespects the Constitution. And number three, that entity has turned out to be loose with the truth and untrustworthy. So I urge you to reject this proposal with great respect. Thank you.
Ginger Lawson.
Hope I won't need this cane.
There you go.
My name is Ginger Lawson. I've lived in Franklin County for almost 20 years. My husband and I live in Apalachicola on 7th Street. I'm here to oppose the proposed ICE contract to detain immigrant children in the county jail. I watched the Facebook video Sheriff Smith posted yesterday. You know, a large part of this country associates southern jails with the movie Cool Hand Luke. Well, good job, Sheriff. It's nice you have dispelled that myth in our county. First, I'd like to know the legal status of these boys. Are they, by virtue of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, U.S. citizens, or are they, like many of their parents, undocumented? The sheriff listed serious crimes they were charged with, some having been prosecuted and found guilty. If they're guilty, why are they coming here instead of a deportation center? He refers to these potential inmates as youths. As a mother and a former teacher of children 13 to 17, they are boys. My experience with that age group, regardless of the socioeconomic class, is they do not have enough common sense or self-control to find their way out of a paper bag, and they require constant supervision. Whatever hand reaches in to help them out of the said bag may determine their future. I know a woman whose career involves statistics for the U.S. juvenile prison system. She said, you have a window of opportunity for turning a child's life around. That window is between the ages of 12 and 17. After 17, it's just a crapshoot. I know that our sheriff believes he's doing the right thing and that it might also make some money for the county jail to boot. But I hope we can all agree for-profit prisons are not good for anyone. Our jail becomes for-profit when it rents out its first bed. Problem is, when this has happened in other states, it becomes not for profit in this rent-a-bed program, but a negative cash flow situation. Where are their health records? When ICE removed them, I doubt they asked for their health records. Facilities across the country are dealing with a measles outbreak. If this happens here, are we prepared for an outbreak requiring a quarantine at the jail of prisoners and staff? Will the per diem cover this? Also, there's specific guidelines set out for the minimal educational standards and services for unaccompanied children who are detained in the U.S. All children, regardless of their immigration status, are entitled to access free public, primary, and secondary education. No doubt ICE has found a way around it or is ignoring this law. But if we do the right thing, we follow those guidelines. Otherwise, if there are no classes, will these boys be picking up trash along the bridge with the adult prisoners? Right now, the ACLU is suing jails across the country, and those are not even facilities that are accepting children. In the last 2 years, the ACLU has had a 70% success rate in the cases brought forth that deal with immigration. If we accept children, it will make the news, and not just the local news, it will make the national news. Not a good optic for a county whose bread and butter is tourism. Here you have politely listened to someone's granny naively wax on about her mischievous grandsons and the boys she taught band that may have done nothing worse than stuff rolls of toilet paper in the tuba. But please, let's not put lipstick on a pig. You're being asked to warehouse 13-year-olds for ICE. Right now, what some people want you to see are faceless, tattoo-covered sons of El Chapo who deserve to be treated like hardened criminals. You may agree, but one thing this granny does know is when you're asked or forced to warehouse someone else's prisoners, you never come out on the right side of history. I believe this would be a losing proposition for the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I know I'm fixing to mispronounce his name, so I'm not going to do it. The last name is Pervera. How do you say your first name, please?
Sochi.
Sochi. I knew I would mess that up. Sorry. Go ahead.
Good. Thank you. Good morning, commissioners and county staff. My name is Xochitl Pervera. I'm originally from Mexico, and I'm proud now to be here living in Franklin County as a seafood worker, growing oysters in the oyster capital of the world. I'm speaking to you as a Franklin County resident, also urging you to reject this proposal to detain immigrant children in our county jail. But like many others, I'm also speaking to you as commissioners so that I can convey some of the serious harm that ICE has done to our community in this past year. Because I feel like at a time when we as a community need to be coming together in the face of challenges and working toward a better future, collaboration with ICE is doing just the opposite. It is pulling us apart. I actually really don't like speaking on behalf of other people, but I was specifically asked to come and share some things with you from our immigrant friends and neighbors here in the county, many of whom have been here longer than I have, because they cannot safely be here in this room and participate in democracy with us today. You know the folks I'm talking about because they're your neighbors also. Their children go to school with your children. They play soccer and basketball. They go to church every Sunday. They've been here for 10 and 16 and 18 years. Some are still learning English. For many of them, it's a third or a fourth language while they work 2 and 3 jobs. They come from Mexico, from Honduras, from Guatemala, where many of them came in the aftermath of the genocide that took place there. They came to the Forgotten Coast and made a home here. They built new and hopeful lives here, and most of all, they tell me to tell you that they used to feel safe here. And then ICE changed its mission and its scope and its tactics and started targeting anyone who was not born here, even hardworking, law-abiding immigrants who are absolutely critical to the vitality of places like Franklin County. Our neighbors who once trusted law enforcement currently live in terror of ICE, and because of the collaboration with local law enforcement, they live in terror of the very deputies and officers they used to trust and rely on for safety and protection. Like I said, many will not come into a space where there are deputies present, such as this, for fear of being questioned and detained. They will not call 911, and that is a public safety crisis if they have an emergency for fear that they will end up in Alligator Alcatraz despite having been a victim. Their fear is real, and it is not unfounded. In our county, we know of 10 neighbors on 8th Street, on 23rd, on 25th, on 24th, who were lost to ICE in the last 13 months. 2 were detained directly by ICE, but 8 others were turned over to ICE by our sheriff's department. In a small community, the impact of this loss of 10 people is profound. I'm going to say some of their names: Manuel, Rosie, Mario, Nicholas, Martin. They were part of the fabric of this county. Martin built the boxes in the Apalachicola Community Garden. Mario shucked oysters in the mornings at Barber's and then ran his small grocery store in the afternoon. Rosie worked in the marina for almost 2 decades. One young man who's just 19, he arrived while he was still a minor. He's been deported to a country now, leaving behind his mother, his father, and all of his siblings. He is alone there. There are at least 8 children in our county who went to bed last night without a parent because of ICE. A father who was with them every day of their lives until suddenly he was just gone. The question everyone asks is, but are they legal? And it's one of the biggest misconceptions I know many of you know, but this idea that people are legal or illegal or they could just go get legal if they wanted to, immigration law is horrendously complex, and it literally changes with every administration. There are currently 22 different ways the federal government can give permission for a person to come visit, live, or work here. And every one of these visas, green cards, protected statuses, refugee programs, asylum processes, and I could go on, everyone has a different set of rules, regulations, requirements, and timelines. Picture a huge waiting room with lines of dozens of different lines. Some of those lines are 3 years long with certain things you have to do, and others wind around and around with a wait time of about 120 years. In some lines, you can get work authorization, permission to get a driver's license. In other lines, you cannot. Worst of all, under this administration, rules that people have been diligently following have changed midstream, resulting in sudden changes in status. So a person who was in status yesterday can, with a stroke of a pen in DC, fall out of status today, despite having followed all the rules and checked in with ICE every year for 10 years. Here in Franklin County, every person I know who is in that waiting room is desperately trying to remain or get in status, to make their way out of that room and into full protected residency and citizenship. So to me, the most important question isn't, well, were they legal? The question is, how in the future do we provide a pathway to citizenship for our neighbors who we know and trust, who are important and meaningful parts of this community? How do we work together to make that pathway a reality? But since we know that is larger than us and takes both time and effort, the question here is, how do we keep our folks safe until such a time comes? So that's the question I'd like to be discussing here with the agencies charged with the safety of the community, of everyone in this county. But the one thing I know that makes my neighbors less safe is increased collaboration with ICE of any sort. That is why, like many here, I am opposed to this proposal, and I am opposed to any proposal that will come before you that strengthens the relationship between our local and trusted law enforcement and this very divisive agency. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Donna Knudsen?
Commissioners, fellow citizens, I just want to talk a little bit about the kids themselves. The formal federal program for detaining and caring for unaccompanied migrant children was created under George W. Bush in 2002. And originally, the Bush-era program was designed for children who arrived without a parent or a guardian. What ICE is doing right now under the Trump administration is looking at children who did arrive with parents, but were reclassified as unaccompanied after being separated under the zero tolerance policy, which then put them into this system. The big question that I would ask you guys is, if you remember back with the first group of kids that came without parents, many of them were never reunited with their parents again. We lost track of the parents were still in their home countries, the kids didn't know where their parents were. If we're bringing up to 25, 13 to 17-year-olds into Franklin County, how are we going to guarantee that they're going to see their families again, ever? And they're being detained and held under a different interpretation of the legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. And there is one more that wasn't clear on the public comment form, if you want to speak now or later. Patty McCartney.
My name is Patty McCartney, and I have been a resident of Franklin County for 30 years. I am not necessarily here to oppose this proposition of the sheriff, but what I would like to point out is we just pledged for liberty and justice for all. I do not believe ICE can be trusted to provide justice for everyone, including our immigrants. So I would challenge the commissioners to look at all of the realms that might be involved in housing juvenile immigrants. Have they been given due process? I doubt it seriously. ICE has been shown lately to never give a citizen due process. Why would they give an adolescent immigrant, an illegal immigrant, due process? You have heard all the reasons to not accept this proposal. I hope you will take all those things in great consideration. We admire our sheriff. We know what he's doing for our citizens. I'm not sure that this is the right decision to make for our county. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just for the record, I received two speaker cards, but they were after the deadline. But I'll tell you they were both in opposition, but I know we don't hear speaker cards after the deadline.
Yeah, that's fine. Commissioners, any questions, concerns, discussion?
I do, but I'll let the others go first.
Okay.
If anybody has anything.
Yeah, we just did public comment. We just went through that whole thing. I'm sorry.
I didn't realize there was a deadline. I
Well,
only had one thing to
It's
say.
published, posted. It's been that way for a long time.
I got an email from that gentleman right there that said I could speak.
Okay, well, I don't,
Ann Wright.
what's your name?
Ann Wright, you did not call me.
I've already called up Ann Wright.
No, you never called Ann Wright.
Hold on.
All the people here.
Let me see if I missed it. Hold on. Calm down. One of you young ladies on the front row didn't speak as Ann Wright a while ago?
No.
Okay, there is one for Ann Wright. I must have missed it. Sorry, come on.
Thank you.
Not a problem. We all make mistakes.
Paper stick. Dollars stick together, papers stick together.
The whole neighborhood knows my name. Hi, I'm Ann Wright, and I'm here to speak to the commission. I thank you for your time. I thank all the sheriff and his staff for their efforts. In fact, one of these gentlemen was outstandingly helpful for me during a very trying time in my life. I am speaking in opposition to the ICE detention center in Franklin County. The saying, "walk the walk," is meaning to support one's words with actions, demonstrating integrity by doing what was promised rather than just talking about it. Today, I'm standing here with voicing my concerns. I am walking the walk. The question of undocumented individuals can be handled through the due process of law and constitutional-based legal solutions and not detention centers, as my previous speakers had alluded to. I perceive detention centers as a personification of hate, a liken to concentration camps, and find the principle of financial reimbursement from the dehumanization of humanity appalling. We can enact change and overcome gaps in the immigration process through the power of humanity. Where is humanity in this project? Under our current administration, and the undocumented in our country is based on fear, cruelty, and labeling for financial gain through ICE operations and detention centers. This harkens to the clouded history built on slavery, eradication of indigenous peoples, and the internment of Japanese Americans. James Tallarico states, "The power of love is not passive, it's not neutral or weak. It requires us to stand between the bullies and the bullied, that look at evil in the eye and not blink to flip over the tables of injustice." Martin Luther King viewed nonviolence and love as inseparable, powerful, and active for social change, aiming to redeem opponents rather than to defeat them. The foundation of detention centers is in the dehumanization of others and not to follow the aforementioned principles. Dehumanizing language such as alien, savage, Tonks, Guatemalans, and rats, an action seen in Minneapolis, diminishes the humanity of both the perpetrator and the victim. This dehumanizing process is used to justify harm and reduces social connection, which makes it easier to tolerate violence and abuse. Bren Brown speaks, "When we desecrate the divinity, we desecrate our own, and we betray our humanity." Nicholas Halsam writes, "Dehumanization is a fearsome word, calling to mind the greatest autocracies of the past and the present. People seen as less than human have suffered and suffer violence, deprivation, exclusion, dispossession, and that suffering has been and is routinely ignored or minimized. Humankind no longer is seen as a contributor to society or part of our community. Do we in Franklin County want to be known as the incarceration coast instead of the forgotten coast? I am beseeching you to find your power of humanity to cast your vote against this detention center. The power of humanity rejects the dehumanization of people with language or the incarcerating of juveniles away from their families with the deprivation of love and understanding. Are we betraying humanity with these policies? Can we move forward toward love and understanding rather than follow a quick financial fix built on dehumanizing behavior? May you reflect on this in your prior vote and prior to your vote, and not pursue this but follow love and mercy. I also want to add that I am the proud mother-in-law of a Peruvian daughter-in-law. I am the proud mother-in-law of 3 Amerasian grandchildren, and I am the proud mother-in-law of a Latino grandchild, and I fear for them every day. In fact, I tell them not to speak Spanish anymore, which is a beautiful language, because I'm afraid they will be pulled over just become words that utter out of their mouth. So I live with that every day, and that is a concern. And so I just wanted to speak. I really thank your time, and I'm sorry I'm shaking like a leaf.
It's okay. Thank you. Commissioners, before we start discussion, I will say this. This was done today for the discussion. That's how it's on our agenda. It's on our agenda for anything other than that today. And the conversation that was had with myself and the sheriff, and the conversation you had yesterday on Facebook, was about how does this fit for us? So, this is the time we can discuss if y'all have any questions.
Mr. Chair, I got a question
Yes.
for Captain Millender and Chief Carroll. probably answer this, or you may not, I don't know. The detainees, do we know if they are violent offenders, have criminal charges, or we're just holding because they're undocumented? Do we know that?
So right now, what I understand is there are 4 juvenile males in Virginia that have to be moved and placed somewhere. They are felony offenders. They are still going through their due process, their court proceedings. What I can tell you in Franklin County is this is just that, a discussion. We are asking for the memorandum of understanding to enter into a discussion. It is not a binding contract yet, okay? There are a lot of ins and outs for this for everyone. It's a learning curve for all of us.
Please address us, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
Please address us.
I apologize. Here in Franklin County, we are not out actively seeking the individuals that are brought to us. It's because of a call. We can offer and do offer GED. We have counseling, therapy. We do yoga with our inmates. We painting classes. We have a compassionate facility. We have a wonderful staff. I do think if them youths have to be housed somewhere, it's better in a place like we are that can offer them that compassion. They're gonna put them somewhere.
Okay. Second question. I know when previously, it was been a while, but when the sheriff office was over capacity, there it was under former administration as well, a tent put up outside. We're not planning on doing that if or if not this,
No,
during the
sir.
past. Okay.
No, sir.
So, I listened to all the people that had speaker cards today, and this is to the public that I'm talking to that spoke. We mentioned about ages 13 through 17. If the detainees was not 13 through 17, would you still have an issue with that by a show of hands? Question was, if the detainees was not the ages 13 through 17, which if they were adults, would you still have an issue with us housing in our facility? All right, thank you. That is all I have right now, Mr. Chair.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, I'll go next. I've listened to everybody, and I appreciate you all being here. I wish our meetings were this popular any other time. But it is a hot topic, and I know a lot of people have a bad idea of ICE. I get it. I'm all about welcoming our immigrant neighbors, but I want to emphasize this is not a decision-making thing today. I was under the impression, I spoke with the sheriff on, I think it was Monday, about this situation because, I got emails and I'm thinking, what's going on here? It's just a lot of misinformation, misunderstanding. I appreciate the sheriff's office staff being here today. I appreciate the public being here and expressing their concern. I did have concerns and have these questions, and one of my questions, I believe Ms. Lawson did bring up a good point about any outbreak. I did ask the sheriff about these offenders, if they're going to be released back into our community. I know they're children. I did ask about all that. Are they violent offenders? What crimes did they commit? All these questions you guys raised. I even asked about, the mental health aspect, if they are separated from their loved ones. So all these questions I had in my mind as well. But with that being said, again, this is just a discussion because a lot of these questions the sheriff could not answer because he doesn't know himself. I'm the type person, I like to have everything laid out on the table before I make a decision. Any decision I make as a commissioner on this board is done by thorough research, talking to the people that are involved with the situation, and that's how I make my decision. At the end of the day, I'm a religious person, I pray about it. I hope and I pray that God leads me in the direction to make the right decision, but I also put the people in our community into consideration, is how it's going to affect them. I trust that our sheriff is not going to do, and his staff is not going to do anything to this county that's going to hurt or harm it in any way, or to any person or individual in any way. I do appreciate that they don't go out actively seeking. I know that, you know, how they work. I do believe in our jail staff, because they do have a lot of programs. And I'm under the assumption, and if you can answer this, Captain, do so. These individuals are they're in jail anyway. It's not that they're coming here to be put in jail. They're already serving a sentence for whatever crime they committed.
Yes, ma'am.
So by coming here to our jail, I know we're basically renting, whatever the terms were. I feel like if hypothetically, they have a much better chance here to get help that they may need versus at a jail in Virginia where they don't really care. I feel like we may care for them here more. I'm not saying I'm advocating for or against. I'm just trying to play both sides of the table here, and trying to put everything into perspective. I do realize this is going to be a lot more of a discussion on our part, because it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a sensitive subject. Again, I do entrust. Obviously, the sheriff his team is not going to do anything to put this board or him or his staff in any kind of precarious issue or situation. Even these individuals, if it should hypothetically happen, he's not going to put them in a precarious or a bad position either. So those are my thoughts. Again, I don't know. It's a serious situation. We all got to look really hard about. I don't really see any hurt in getting more information. Now, are they, and I don't know I know Attorney Schuler's been brought into this, they have to have this memorandum of understanding just to get information, right? Like, just to see what it all is going to entail. They won't really elaborate on a lot of the information. I haven't done this Sabot, that's a third-party ICE?
Yes.
Okay.
And that is strictly what it is. As of right now, it's just an agreement between the county and the sheriff's office with Sabot to go into further discussions to even see if this is something that we can do. All right. It's not a binding contract at this time.
Okay. That's all.
Attorney Schuler, do you have anything to say or to add to this discussion?
As you know, I've been out for a few days. I did take time when Mr. Marone sent me the paperwork last week and made me aware of the documentation. I have not made a deep dive in looking at all of the paperwork. I've spent, I don't know, probably 10 or 15 minutes looking at it. That 10 or 15 minutes was enough to convince me that, as it's presently written, I would never recommend that the board sign this paperwork in the form that it's in now. Primarily, I mean, y'all heard me talk about basically the red lines that I look at in contracts when I review things. I want to know what law governs the contract. Well, in this case, it's California law. Where's the venue? Which means if we have a dispute, where have you got to go to court? It's in California. I can't tell what these people are even asked to be paid for their services. I look for a formula, I look for a number. The way I recollect hearing or reading it last week is once they send people here, then they send us an invoice and we pay it. So that's not acceptable to me. They want binding arbitration in the event of a dispute. I don't like arbitration. I mean, mediation, which is, you know, if you mediate a dispute and people reach a decision voluntarily, that's fine. And if you can't mediate, then you go to court. Arbitration is binding. You know, you have an arbiter who probably is a retired judge. You don't go through the court system. The arbiter just makes a decision, and then you have to live with the decision. So I just philosophically oppose arbitration. They had a unlimited, as I recall, essentially an unlimited indemnification of the vendors. Sabat, I think is the name of it. So yeah, there's just tons of problems and questions in my mind, and I just would not recommend that the board enter into any agreement with this group as it is presently written. I know they've indicated, I think in an email, and also here this morning, that the vendor is willing for me to redline and make changes, which that's fine. I mean, I can, if the board wants to move forward with this, I can make redline changes and see if it can be reformatted in a manner that I would be willing to recommend that the board at least consider entering into the contract. But that's basically what I recall off the top of my head. I may be missing a few things, but that's what I recall from my review last week.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I will say this, it's the thing that concerns me greatly about all that is, and it's nothing against you or your profession, we have talk of arbitration or court or suing or all that kind of stuff enough without entering into some kind of contract that we know is laced with that. I have great concerns over that. And I don't see this program going any other way. If you look at, you just have to turn on the national news. It's hard not to see it that way. Most of all those things are winding up in court. And, we're not the biggest county in Florida, and I just don't see us, having to pay for litigation to fight something that we've invited. So I don't know if it's a good fit for us, and I'm just being honest. I know from what's being said here this morning, if I'm wrong, I'm good to be corrected. Currently, if someone is detained here, ICE is coming to pick people up from here. So, you know what I mean? There's already inner workings with ICE. I don't understand how this third-party vendor thing works. So I just don't know if it's a good fit for us, just me personally. But I'm not, I'm 1 of 5.
Attorney Schuler, so you reviewed the contract already?
Yes, Mike sent me an email last week that had some documents attached to it. I think it was labeled as a memorandum of understanding. There was also a mention of an NDA, and to be quite honest with you, Commissioner, I'm over people wanting us to enter into NDAs. I mean, something's either a public record or it's not.
Yeah.
Okay. NDAs will not change that. Okay. So no, I'm done with NDAs at this point.
Yeah.
I'm just done with them.
I was unaware.
Sorry to be
that
so
we
blunt. I know
resolved-
I work
What
with
you
you five,
saying
but
is for us not to bring you any more NDAs? Is that what I'm?
yeah, pretty much.
that what you're hearing?
Something's either a public record or it's not, and what people always want are these horrendous penalties for violating the NDA, and so I'm just philosophically and legally, I'm over it. A document is either a public record or it's not. The NDA is not going to change that one way or the other. There are already state laws out there that, certain confidential information and trade secrets are already protected under state law. We don't need an NDA. So frankly, if that's their beginning point for this negotiation, my recommendation is to tell them no.
Well, my question was, we already received some form of contract or
Yes.
MOU.
Yeah, they sent the document. I think it was labeled as a memorandum of understanding. I frankly don't really recall the what the heading of it was, but it was a document, and it covered things like I discussed earlier: attorney's fees,
I got you.
which state law governs, where's your venue, how much they're going to get paid. I mean, it was just kind of shocking to me, frankly.
Did you send that out by chance?
Did I send it out?
Yes, did you send it to, because I didn't see it.
Mike sent it to me to look at. I don't know who he.
I did not, because Attorney Schuler had immediate concerns with it, so I wanted
Okay.
him to address his concerns first before the board got a copy of an agreement that we could possibly move forward with. It was so far, looking at his notes, it was so far away from something I would present to the board for you, even for your consideration or review. So I'm sorry, to answer your question, no, sir, I did not, Commissioner.
All right, I was just making sure, because I
Yes.
know if he
Yeah, you didn't
had a
miss.
problem with it. You know how I am about contracts.
Yes, sir.
So, and another thing is, I heard, concerns about the sheriff office. Listen, guys, let's not compare our sheriff office, our local guys, with federal agencies. You know, the federal agencies do not care about our neighbors. Our sheriff office, our city policemen in Carabel and Apalachicola care about our neighbors. And frankly, that's probably we're one of the safest counties. You know, and majority of our deputies are local, so let's not sit up here and bash our sheriff office, because they truly care about our neighbors. Something I seen right before I went to bed last night. I guess the phone probably knew I was thinking about it. I don't know. Yeah, I was literally laying in the bed. Last thing I clicked on, I saw where our fellow commissioner, Mayor Demings, over in Orange, he threatened to cancel an agreement with ICE. I don't know if y'all seen that yet. And it was over cost. You know, I guess they're talking about renegotiating costs because it's actually was higher, and they sent a letter. And I think that's one of the things, you know, I was thinking about right before I went to bed was, you know, I don't want us to become in that situation that Mayor Demings is dealing with. And that's probably a discussion that we need to have as well, because it may be too much for us.
Well, Mr. Chairman's not here, so Madam Chairman, I'm going to go ahead and say what I need to say. I think we need to keep on with the dialogue and discussion, and then at the end of the day, let the attorney say what he feels like would be a good, get with staff, with the sheriff's office, and what they think would be good, and just continue the discussion. And at the end of the day, we don't know how it's going to come out, but we've got a lot of people that are opposed to it, because if you're like me, you don't know nothing about it. So, you know, the more informed you are, the more you learn about it. And I agree with Commissioner Ward on the things that she said also. And I feel like we owe it to the sheriff, because he's asked us to consider the discussion and what's going on, and I think that's where we need to go, is continue the discussion, not make a decision, which we're not going to make a decision today. It's not on the agenda to do that. But I think we need to iron out all these, because I have some real big questions too. I do know our neighboring counties, some of the neighboring counties do have detainees in their facilities. I would like to see how those facilities operate, and especially the counties that's closest to our ability to take care of detainees. But I would like to see all of it worked out and ironed out, and then we look at each section and then see if it's a good fit for Franklin County. If it's not a good fit for Franklin County, we'll say no. If it is a good fit and we feel like it's a good thing to do, we'll say yes. And just go there. But until then, I don't have no decision on it right now, because you got too many moving parts, and they're moving pretty fast, you know. So that's my way of looking at it.
Attorney Schuler, I think it's worth, you know, this third party, this middle person, Sabat, to be have a representative too, if, you know, to speak on this.
Okay.
In the discussion.
Can I ask a question?
That's what we're here for.
Well, I'm wanting to ask it to him, and I want to make sure he can answer. Do we have to do this with a third party?
This is all new to me.
That's what that's what I'm saying. Why are we going through a third party? Can you do it directly? You know, see, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of things. They may not be the third party that we want to handle it. Not knowing anything. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So, anyway.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I've just got some questions here. I mean, obviously, we're not going to get too many answers, because we're just starting really in this discussion, but I would rather go ahead and voice some of these questions now. That way, as we're moving forward, getting information on this, you kind of know where my mind's at. I'll tell you this, and I'm not getting into a political banner about where I stand and all that, but I do believe in the rule of law. There's consequences to actions, regardless. And I know a lot of y'all don't want to hear that, but I will tell you this, and I have been in third world countries multiple times, and I understand why people are looking for better lives. Trust me, I do. But there is a legal process to it, and we have to have consequences to actions. I mean, that's the world we live in. Without law, there'd be chaos. But we're not going to go down that, that road. But what I will say is this: where my concerns and the job I have sitting here is what kind of impact is it going to have on our county, and not just the perception of our county. Where my questions are, and this would be directly for the Sheriff's Department, is, and I've had multiple discussions with the sheriff, and I believe that you guys do a wonderful job. So, but just so I have this in your privy going down the road, if we do this, do we have, and I asked the sheriff this, and he assured me we do, but I just want to go a little more in depth real quick with it. But do we have the resources to do this? I know there are 13 to 17-year-olds. Are they going to need specific counseling? I mean, do y'all have any idea of what those types of resources will be needed for these kids?
So from my understanding, Sabat will facilitate mental health counselors, all different type of counseling. But I would like to say, and I honestly do not know myself what that would look like yet, but I will say this: currently what we offer, and when we do have juveniles that we have, not migrant juveniles, but juveniles that we house while they're awaiting their trial, once they're adjudicated by a judge as an adult, we offer GED. We have mental health counseling and therapy 5 days a week. We offer blitz therapy. What we do is once a week we meet, we round table, if you will. We meet with our nurses, we meet with our care coordinators, we meet with Disc Village and some of our other counselors, and we try to identify those that are in the most need, whether they're adult or juvenile. We give them all the therapy they need if they accept it. We have in-care and after-care programs. We track individuals once they leave our facility. We track them and give them resources if they will accept it. Most do not accept it, but we do have those that are receptive to it and take it. So I believe we can. We already do a lot of those things with our current populations. So I believe we can support and facilitate that for these youths.
Okay, now, and I know this was asked, and I'm assuming we don't have the answers to this yet, but I was wanting to know what the status of the detainees are. Have they made it through the criminal court, and now they're just being detained until they have due process with the immigration court? I'd like to find out the answer to that. Just, I think we need to know that moving forward.
Yes.
Getting back to the resource thing, this is something that's been on my mind too with this, is now if, let's just say please everybody remain calm. Let's just say we go forward with this, and then all of a sudden we have 25 detainees over there. Do we have the enforcement or the correction side? Do we have the enough people to handle that with what we got as well, or are we going to have to go and hire more positions to come in and fill that? Because this is where my concern is, and I guess this is I'm talking to the commissioners and the Sheriff's Department. We know that we're going to be in a little bit of we're going to have to tighten that belt up here in about a year, because whether we like it or not, we can project it, but we're probably going to be looking at not having a residence tax in the state of Florida, which is going to put a strain on our ad valorem. Okay, what I'm worried about from this position, like I said earlier, this is the way I got to look at it. But are we going to get to a position where, hey, we hire these folks on 2 years, the White House turns blue? You know how this goes. We're back to, I feel like I'm in ping pong and I'm the ball. But now that we got changes there, now we're stuck with X amount more employees. And from what I understand, if we do away with residence tax, the one budget that we can't cut is law enforcement. So I don't want to potentially put us in a position where down the road we just we run out of some money because we're not getting this program's going away, and then I don't want to just be
Okay.
sitting there kind of flat, so.
Commissioner, if I can answer that for you. So we are not going to hire any additional staff. If it takes more staff, then we're just not going to do it. If we can't do it with what the resources we currently have, then we're not going to do it. And that's the bottom line. Right now, we are at about 60 to 65 inmates. A year ago, we had almost 100. And we've been running, prior to this, a lot more inmates. Y'all been paying for almost 70, 80, 90 inmates. I mean, we've been working hard to get that inmate population down to save the county money. We've been working with the state attorney's office to get people out that need to be out. 20 out of these 65 are in jail because they have violated probation on a technicality, which means they were out late past a curfew, had a bad UA, something that is not a crime, but it's a technical violation. They get violated, then they sit in jail till they go to court. And we're working on, one of my thoughts has been, how do we fix this so that they're not sitting in jail? Because that would even decrease our population more. Now, there's another 20 or maybe 30 that are in jail because they've committed a crime and violated their probation, which is a different situation. We're going to have, they need to be in jail, but these folks that have done something as a technical violation, and I know I'm kind of getting off track, but I'm trying to let y'all understand what's going on in the jail and that we're watching it, and that we're not going to, if we were to house folks, we're not going to hire new people. If there comes a time that we need additional staffing, then it'll be an opportunity for folks to make overtime because of the money that immigration is going to be paying. So we're not going to take on additional financial burden to the county or to the sheriff's office or to taxpayers as a result of this. We can't do it with what we got, then we just won't do it.
Thank you for that, Sheriff. Really, that's all I have. We don't know. I've had
Right.
multiple people call me. I said, we don't
here's-
really know this. We got to get into it.
And I heard one of the commissioners mention about the third party. Here's the deal with the third party. They make it easier to maneuver. I mean, just like everybody said, hey, immigration is a very technical and very cumbersome procedure for folks trying to get here legally. So the third party makes it easier for us to work with the federal government, which we all know it's not always easy to work with them. So that's the reason for the third party. Because the folks that are part of this third-party company, they have been previous ICE employees or immigration, and so that's the reason for that. Just makes it easier for us, and they know all the policies and procedures. So if there's something that we need to get right, they can help us do that much easier than us just trying to go out and figure it out.
Can I ask the sheriff something? Sheriff, do you know how many counties already have ICE?
There's a lot of them.
detaining?
I mean, Liberty County, I talked to Liberty County Sheriff last night. They're about to get busloads of them up there. They're actually building an ICE facility. I like to call it immigration. ICE has such a, people
Yeah.
just look at it
Oh,
as such a
fine.
terrible word because of what happened in Minnesota. And of course, none of us can agree with some of the things that went on, but we're not Minnesota. So Bay County, Walton County, those counties are already housing inmates. I'm not sure about Leon. I hadn't spoke to the sheriff about it.
Wakulla does.
Yeah, I know they used to. I'm not sure, but I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of counties are doing it. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, one of the questions, Commissioner Amison brought, I had a lot of questions too. I didn't express all of them. I kind
Me
of
neither.
touched on some, but one of the questions I did ask the sheriff too, and I did mention the word indemnification. If someone hypothetically, again, just hypothetical here, if we do this and one of these juveniles gets hurt or killed in our jail, what does that look like for us? So, all these are great questions, and again, the sheriff couldn't answer because we don't know. This is an information seeking phase that we're looking at. So I think that at this point, again, with Attorney Schuler and his recommendation, I feel like I'm not going to do, in my opinion, anything that's going to put the county, I know the sheriff's not going to do anything either, but since the attorney has some issues with the contract, the MOU, whatever you want to call it, I feel like we need to pause and see if we can redline and then have another discussion. I don't know how that's going to look like.
What was the MO problem? I didn't hear the problem with the MOU.
Your office. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Mr. Merle sent me the paperwork last week to look at, Sheriff. I spent about 10 or 15 minutes just checking the things that I look at in all contracts. For example, what law governs the contract? In this case, it's California law.
No, they are totally fine with that being struck.
Right. Now, I understand from your office that they want me to make a red line with proposed changes and send it back to them, but I have not done so.
Well, we already talked to them and told them that was just a kind of boilerplate contract they had used in California. So
Right.
Florida's fine. I mean, they're not, that's not a problem.
Well, do they have a contract with another sheriff's department in Florida? Because I would love to know that and
I
talk
don't
to
know.
that
I didn't
county
ask them
attorney and
about
see what
that.
their experiences have been.
I didn't ask them about that.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question for Attorney Sheriff. And the sheriff, while you're there, so we got to sign a contract to go to just have a discussion?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm?
Yeah, they
That's what I
have
understand. That's
proposed
what he
an
found.
NDA as part of the package of documents, and as I had mentioned to the board earlier, I'm over recommending NDAs to the board. I mean, it just, I don't think they serve any valid purpose from the county's perspective as far as I'm concerned. I mean, paperwork that people give to us is either a public record or it's not. If there's an exemption already in state law, then they don't need the NDA. So, I mean, they're going to need to give up that requirement as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if they want to have a conversation, then let's have a conversation. But, you know, with an NDA, y'all are the decision makers. I know who I work for. Please understand me as a precondition, I understand that when I tell you I'm over NDAs with as far as the board is concerned. I mean,
In layman's terms, for the rest of us, that's not lawyer speak, NDAs are rough because we have to do everything in the sunshine, and he sweats bullets over there when we're in an NDA because he don't know what any of us five might say. So that's what he's trying to. Because he's getting me confused.
I did not say it that way.
Well, I just see a lot of faces out there, so I had to put it in our terminology.
Can I address that? So, if we're held to an NDA, an NDA, I'm not good with that either. But again, all I want to do is get more information. That's what I'm trying to, they want us to sign an MOU.
Thank you.
And I was totally fine with that. We're not bound to anything. I just want to get the information to see if it's something that will work for us. And I'm not going to be a part of an NDA or litigation in California or any of that stuff. And I think they were good with redlining that. And because, if we do something here, then it needs to be in the sunshine. It needs to be, we're not hiding anything. We want everything to be right out there in the wide open, clear blue sky.
That's the reason this discussion is like it is today. We're operating in the sunshine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I have had people ask me before the meeting about what we're going to discuss. I said, well, I can't tell you because I don't know yet.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
If you knew,
anyway.
then yeah, exactly.
All right, any other questions, Commissioners?
Any other questions? Thank you.
So that I'm clear, I just want to make sure, get some
Yes.
direction here, Commissioner. So basically, Attorney Schuler and myself are going to work with the agreement, and when we think there's something that we could bring before the board, then we let you know, you schedule it on an agenda or a special meeting, correct?
Make sure you
I'm okay with that.
keep in contact with the sheriff.
Oh, definitely. That's not where we are. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, so it'll become very evident as we increase the discussion.
Yes.
Whether it fits for us or not.
Yes.
And I think that's what we need to
That's
find out.
what you're trying to find out, yes. Okay.
There are a lot of questions.
Yeah.
A lot of questions.
Attorney Schuler, good?
Sure. I'll agree with anything right now.
Right now, you'll tell me anything, okay.
All right, so at this time, we will go to regular public comments.
Unless do you want to, Mr. Chairman,
Let's just go ahead
can I
and-
recommend take a break so that, because I think most of the people that were here for
Okay.
that may want to leave, and then you won't have as much background.
5-minute recess. Franklin County Commission is now back in session. Now we're going to go to regular public comments. Since it's up there, Ms. Brenda, I'll pull yours first. We already have something up on the screen about what you wanted to speak to us about.
Yes. Good morning, Commissioners. Total change of pace from earlier. My name is Brenda Carlin, and my husband and I are residents of St. George Island. And this is an exciting year for America and Franklin County because we celebrate our 250 years of America's founding and our Declaration of Independence. How is Franklin County celebrating or planning to celebrate? After checking the BOCC, county, and ABC school and library calendars for East Point, Carabel, and Apalachicola, and not seeing any event or activity scheduled, I'm here to propose a suggestion and offer a couple of resources. I urge county commissioners and staff to encourage support for using these resources to celebrate our 250th birthday. Did you know that a significant percentage of U.S. teens are not aware of the Declaration of Independence? For example, 15% of them didn't know it was adopted on July 4th, 1776. And many are unsure about the reasons for declaring independence from Britain. Overall, surveys indicate a general lack of historical knowledge among younger Americans aged 6 to 18 regarding this important event. Also, over a half of Americans that are over age 19 don't know the main reason the American colonies declared independence from Britain in 1776, which indicates a significant lack of awareness among the population. And to me, this is a truly shocking statistic. One resource to help Americans and my fellow Franklin County neighbors of all ages to understand the significance of the Declaration of Independence and our heritage as individuals who enjoy the blessings of liberty we enjoy today is presented by the White House webpage. That is what you're seeing on the screen, is the White House webpage. The White House Task Force 250 has partnered with Hillsdale College to create a video series that tells the remarkable story of American independence. It highlights the stories of the crucial people, places, and events that resulted in a ragtag army defeating the mightiest empire in the world and establishing the greatest republic that ever to exist. These videos can be used and viewed by county governments, schools, libraries, businesses, churches, families, and individuals for free, and at a time that is convenient. I propose that our schools and libraries schedule viewing days for these videos leading up to July 4th, 2026. They can be used throughout 2026, including Constitution Day, which is celebrated in our schools September of each school year. Another resource is the National Center for Constitutional Studies. They have printed a special commemorative 1776-2026 pocket Declaration of Independence and U.S. Constitution. I have personally purchased these pocket guides and will gladly provide a supply for Franklin County libraries and schools to use along with these videos for scheduled viewing or classroom events. As John Adams wrote in a letter to his wife, Abigail Adams, this day in July 1776, quote, will be the most memorable epic in the history of America. It ought to be commemorated as the day of deliverance by solemn acts of devotion to God Almighty. It ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade, with shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations from the end of this continent to the other. I urge you, Commissioners, to encourage support for my proposal and for using these resources to celebrate our 250th birthday. To encourage you, I give each of you a commemorative pocket guide, and I have extras for anyone else who would like them. The videos, if you were to scroll the page, the videos are anywhere from 7 to like 15 minutes. They're short, concise, and very informative. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope we do something really cool to celebrate our 250th. Thank you.
Ms. Brenda. And I will say, because you mentioned it, Hillsdale College is also, a lot of the stuff they have online is free. And I know that they have a course, Constitution 101, and I believe there's Constitution 102.
Yes.
Very insightful because they're not political in nature. They are strictly the facts of what happened and how it happened.
Yes, the history. I appreciate you saying that. I've taken several and currently am taking one too.
Yeah.
Here are the pocket guides for y'all, and I do have extras if anyone else wants it.
Thank you.
I didn't know if I should touch your hand.
We're all coughing.
Thank you. Miss Patricia Lively. Maybe this is one online, Michael?
Ms. Lively online, please indicate by raising your hand. No hands raised.
We did have a card filled out. It said it was about a property 2323.
Oh, Bree took care of that, Mr.
did she?
Chairman.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
Bree took care of that.
That works.
Look at that.
All right. Teresa Ann Jacobs. Is it online?
She is online.
Hand raised at the top.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Is she unmute? Yep, there she goes, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning. How are y'all today?
We're doing well, thank you.
Good. I just wanted to come online today and speak to you about the barnacle issue. I know that the contract was supposed to be terminated. I know that we've had someone from the Barnacle Company down doing some rechecking to see what the problem was, along with Major Seagree, and we have found no issue here on Alligator Point with the barnacle use. So I would like to encourage the board to reinstate the barnacle contract, maybe with some concession on how we can recoup some of the money that was spent on last year's contract and the barnacle was not used at all. The lack of trainings on the part of the deputies seems to be the issue, and I think that can be easily resolved. This is a good product, I think, and it will certainly help with the parking on Alligator Point and reduce the time that our officers have to spend here trying to get people to come move their cars or do something with the illegal parking situation that we have over here. I just want to encourage the board to reinstate it, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. Mr. Rudy Mead?
Good morning, Commissioners. Rudy Mang, Alligator Point, 10-year resident now. Again, also addressing the barnacle. Embarrassed to be addressing that after the ICE subject this morning, but parking, that still is an ongoing issue. The barnacle seemed like the resolution to that last year never was ended up being deployed. They said that it wouldn't connect properly for the payment aspect. The barnacle representative came down, Major Seagree came down, went through all of the areas of Alligator Point where parking would be an issue and worked flawlessly. The Sheriff's Department, Brad, said it might have been operator error. We're going to go with that, but hopefully we'll continue to use that product. And at some point, Ricky, it'd be good for St. George's Island also.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to be the test for it.
It would. So, is that all you had? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. I was going to respond and say something to Ms. Jacobs, but I knew you were also want to speak about the same thing. The only issues I have with this discussion are this. We spent 18,000 taxpayer dollars and never issued one citation for a year. So it took us canceling the contract for the vendor to say they want to do something about the fact that we're not utilizing it. The other thing that's very interesting to me, and it's not my district, is there was absolutely no uproar or discussion about lack of parking enforcement for a year from this device that wasn't being utilized. So if parking's still a problem, why do we not hear about it? I mean, those are just valid questions I have.
The frustration level was pretty high when we heard that.
We
the
didn't hear any of
deployment, I'll
Yeah.
say from our side, that
Yeah.
the deployment attempt was a failure.
Yeah.
And we took that information as valid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why we backed off, to be perfectly honest. I'll say me,
Yeah.
I'm obnoxious about parking out there.
Yeah.
So, and to find out that Major Seacree said
Yeah.
that it was on their side.
Yeah.
So
So it'd be
that's
interesting
not
to see where
a
it
fault
goes
of
from there.
Barnacle, that's, and again, a side note, last year was an interesting year for parking anyway. There was not as much parking problems. Yeah, obviously, parking is a problem when it's a sunny day and it's a weekend. If there's a lot of rain, which there was. So there were some issues that made last year the least parking issues, I think, what we saw in our 10 years of being there. So that's a little bit of an oddity also. That's not going to be the case moving forward. With the growth of Crawfordville, and you've seen personally with St. George's Island, the parking is getting outrageous over the last 2 years. But the weather did impact it. And again, we still don't get as much police presence when we need it for the parking
Well,
issues.
you also bring it up, so I'll mention it because you brought it up. Another thing that concerns me is after a year of not utilizing it all, why was it never moved to St. George Island?
Yeah, well-
We can't answer that, but that's, we were spending taxpayer dollars on this system
Sure.
that was not utilized at all. So here's the thing, as the chair, I get an email every month of every time it was deployed, like a copy of the invoice and all this different stuff, and I'm looking every month and there's nothing, and nothing, and nothing.
We would hope that you would challenge the sheriff's department
Oh, it's definitely gonna be a challenge.
to push them to deploy this. But again, the conversation we've always had with the sheriff's department is, when they come for a parking problem, they would try to remove the issue. They would walk out onto the beach, spend 20 minutes trying to find the people that are parking badly. Usually it's safety issues. They would park over into the street. Those are the ones that I call for.
Yeah.
So what would happen is they would spend 20 minutes, they'd be getting hot, miserable, and they would just escort the people off the beach. They didn't issue tickets because they say a Schuler judge would not want them to issue tickets. That sounds a little ridiculous also, but as a side note, I always told them, we don't want you to waste your time going out onto the beach. That's not it. You stick something on that car, whether it's a ticket. We have some lovely stickers that we came up with. The Barnacle, still the best. Boots obviously wouldn't work. It'd be too much time for them. They'd have to come back. With the Barnacle, they stick it on.
Yep.
The representative said in New York, they're deploying that in 60 seconds.
Well, they probably are.
Yeah.
There are a lot more people.
But that's how quick they are.
A lot
So
more internet connectivity.
that's a training issue again. But once that gets deployed and they're gone, the sheriff can leave. He's done with it. They don't have to mess with it moving forward. That's what we want to see.
Okay.
That sticker sticking on the car, that Barnacle on there, that prevents the next person from parking there. They see, just like a ticket on a windshield, they're going to be less likely to park. The problem with when they cleaned off the beach, after the sheriff left, 15 minutes later, there's more cars parking.
It's the same thing, yes.
So this ongoing thing that we think the Barnacle will be an effective device. And again, at some point, head it your way, but let us continue to be the test. At this point, how we looked at it, you committed $18,000. We saw it as per year toward the Barnacle being on Alligator Point. If it goes away, I'd still like to see that $18,000 somehow spent toward parking issues. So I think it's easier just to keep the Barnacle because it looks like it's an effective device. The representative made a great case. The sheriff's department came down, 2 of their reps were there. They seem to think that, again, it's going to save time for them also. So that would allow them to get back to speeding, which is, of course, the other primary problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr.
Appreciate
Chairman?
it.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, I need to comment on this because I'm going to be leaving out in just a few minutes. Major Brad Seeger got in contact with me one day toward the last of the week, and he informed me, and just for y'all's information, got Michael to forward a letter to y'all
I
from
received it,
him.
I believe, and I responded to him.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
good. And they have already tested on Alligator Point and at St. George Island on 11th Street and 12th Street on St. George Island. And he said it's working now. He said it was mechanical failures because they didn't know how to do everything. Anyway, I think the one thing that has helped Alligator Point is emergency management put a Starlink link down there. And I think that's helped, try to help it. But he said they had all tests. He said the Ball Point area took a few more minutes, but then after it took that time, it got to operating good. And so I guess he's wanting to come in the near future and bring this back before us. Now, one of the questions that was asked at the Acton meeting the other day was, can we have sort of like a reimbursement of some of our money that we paid out and didn't get no services for it? So that's one thing we need to look at. But I do want to say that thank y'all for bringing it up, Miss Teresa and Rudy bringing it up, because we're fixing to get on spring break. And so hopefully we can get something maybe by the next meeting.
Okay.
Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for letting me
Chairman, I'm sorry.
Can I just ask a quick question while we're talking about that? The Sheriff's Department is the one that brought us the barn.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So there obviously must have been a lack of communication between the company and the Sheriff's Department. If our staff, because if memory serves me right, the Sheriff's Department was very motivated for us to get this form.
Yep.
So, I mean, I really think,
it was training.
and I haven't had a chance to talk to Major Seeger or anybody about this, but, I mean, that falls back on that company to provide adequate training to our law enforcement.
Yeah.
It
So,
just, you know, I'm just saying,
so Commissioners, here,
Service ain't too
and
great.
following on what you guys are saying from an administrative point of view, we have a lot of vendors that we use for different services. To me, I'm sorry, I'm not too good at blaming I'm not in with saying it's the Sheriff's Department's fault. I'm more with the company, because if we're using a company and if we're paying for a service and we're not getting it, you know what the vendor does? Send me an email, hey, Michael, what's going on? You know, you're paying for this service, we're not seeing any action on the app or whatever. You know what I mean? So yes, I'm in full agreement. I'm not saying not to go forward. I'm saying the company needs to kind of own some of this situation and work with the county on this.
Well,
That's me.
Mr. Chairman, I was gonna say the same thing, and I was gonna bring this up, but my thing is this: if we paid all that time, for one, communication is key.
Yes.
Not once did I get an email or any kind of response from anybody saying these things aren't working, we're having issues. Not once, and I didn't look at the contract. I briefly read through it, but I'm sure there's training included in that amount of money. If it is truly an error and it was a user error, then okay, that's all fine and good. But they're going to have to give us a really, really big discount in order for me to rethink that, because that's a lot of money, and that's how I feel about it. I did talk to Major Seagrey about it. And at that point, I believe he was going to have a meeting with Commissioner Croom. Of course, Commissioner Croom and I can't talk, and I told Brad, I said, well, don't tell me what Commissioner Croom says. But I think we were going to bring it back up to light. But I'm really willing and interested to talk about it again. But that company's going to really, really have to come off some kind of incentive or something for me, I'm 1 of 5, to agree to go back with it, because again, the company should have said, hey, we're not getting anything from you guys, you're all not having any issue, they should also check in.
Yes.
And I don't know if they did. Again, communication is key. I'm the type of person, if I don't hear anything, I'm assuming everything's fine. Should I reach out, call and ask? Sure, but again, that was not something that we wanted. It was a request made by the sheriff's office to this board, and we're just trying to do what they requested to help them in their efforts. But anyway.
Well, and finally, Barnacle has sent somebody down here, an agent for their company, and showed them how to operate and the whole thing. And they say it's operating without a little glitch, and that's a good thing. But the main thing is that we know that coming into spring break season, we're going to have parking issues at Alligator Point and St. George Island.
Just put it on your,
Mr. Chairman,
do something about it.
My question is when did Barnacle come and give them the class finally?
on month 11, month 10?
I don't think they've done it yet.
They did it month 13.
After the contract was
After the
canceled.
contract was
That's
canceled.
my point. See, I'm with
They
Apton.
They didn't do something until we did something.
Exactly. We
come in.
canceled the contract and then they
Yeah.
come back and said,
That
well,
was-
hold up. Yeah.
I'm with Apton.
I don't know if Attorney Schuler wants to chime in on any of this, but
And when we consider the contract, if we do consider the contract, we need to let them know that we feel like there needs to be a credit given to the county for paying $18,000 that we got no services from them. So.
Well, I just want to remind the board that it seems like we found out about this, I don't know, sometime in the fall of last year.
Yeah.
And at the board's direction, I contacted their attorney and said that the board wanted to terminate the contract early. What I seem to recall is they said that the product would not work because of the cell coverage down there. So that's what I seem to recall. But the point of the story being, when they were asked to terminate early, so the board would not, because we weren't going to use it, they just said, no, you got to, this is your contract, this is a one-year contract. If you're not using the service, you're still going to make the payment, because the contract is a contract, basically. And I mean, I get that. I mean, contracts do say what they say. There was no early termination provision in there, but it would have seemed to me that if they wanted to come back and work with the county in the future, that they would have, been more receptive to the board's request to terminate the contract early.
well, they didn't want to, Mr. Chairman, because they wanted that $18,000. But I will say this, if we do hypothetically renegotiate the contract, I do want an early termination clause, because I want proof. If we're 2-3 months in and it's still not working and it's not user error, then I don't want to continue to pay. And I don't think they'll be willing to do that, but that's just my thought.
Mr. Chairman, I would say one last time, and you cut you off.
Yeah.
But as a business owner, you can bet one thing, if one of my clients called me up and said, hey, I'm not buying any product from you, I'm finding out why, and I'm making we're making some adjustments, because I'm gonna try to keep that client. And for us to reach out to them and say, we want to terminate, seems like instead of month 13, they would have had somebody down there right after that phone call came through. That's just me. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it alone.
Well, I was commenting on what Mr. Chair said earlier. The whole time I'm thinking, it's getting utilized, didn't hear any complaints from, Alligator Point. So I'm thinking something's going on there, some kind of enforcement action was taken. And when I was told about service issue and it has not been utilized, so my next question was, well, why wasn't it taken to St. George Island? I got no answer on that.
I asked the same question.
But I agree with Commissioner Sanders. If we do reconsider this, we need to take some kind of credit or get some credit from Barnacle.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I do know spring break is approaching and summer, so we do got to have some kind of enforcement in play for Alligator Point and their parking issues. So.
Anyone else? All right. Sarah, are we opening bids today? Is that what we're doing? Yeehaw.
Yeah. We have more than one.
Yes. All right, Commissioners, today we are opening the bid responses for the Franklin County Courthouse Annex courtroom renovations. The project scope includes demolition of the existing walls, doors, ramps, casework, and carpet flooring in the courtroom, as well as removal and storage of the existing seating for later reinstallation. New work includes construction of wood frame platforms with plywood and oak trim, new ramps, wall partitions with gypsum board, and sound attenuation insulation, and installation of solid surface countertops with oak wood tops and trim. All casework shall adhere to AWI standards. Electrical work includes updates to the receptacles, outlets, and related power provisions as indicated in the electrical plan. Carpet installation will be provided in designated areas with transition strips and vinyl nosing as specified. All materials and finishes, including carpet, vinyl nosing, and pony wall braces, are based on the design standards provided. Okay, and our first response today is from a company called CP Squared LLC. Again, CP Squared LLC, located at 10th Street, Apalachicola, Florida. And the bid amount is $163,680. Again, $163,680. Looking for the bid bond.
Get that lady some scissors.
Oh. Yeah, you want to check through that one, see if you see that one?
Saw an
Need the
email from
pocket
Doug.
now.
Some were worried that since Monday was a federal holiday, they would not be able to get their bid bond. I think he said they could replace it with a letter. Check my email.
When were these due?
Monday.
Is the contractor in attendance by chance? Chris, did you include a bid bond?
Exactly what you said, it being a holiday.
Oh,
and
okay.
I did actually get it the next day, which is yesterday.
Okay.
I don't have it,
Okay, okay.
but I could in the past.
Okay, okay, gotcha, okay.
Did you send it to,
Holiday, it was very difficult.
did you send it to Doug?
No, I just included it in.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you can get it to us after.
She's not allowed to play with knives.
Oh, wow. Oh, man, that's a tough looking knife.
We always have a pocket knife to open the bid.
Yep. I'm sorry, Alan took his with him, he didn't leave it with me, so yes.
I know we did, I was thinking about that.
Okay, this next one is from Galloway Construction Incorporated. And their bid is $239,166.81. Again, $239,166.81. And that is Galloway Construction from East Point, Florida. Okay. This next, well, actually, I forgot to check to see if they have their bid on there. Which they may have had the same experience. Oh, nope, there is a bid bond included with this one. Okay, the next is, let's see. The next bid is from D&B Builders Incorporated, located in Molino, Florida. Again, D&B Builders Incorporated in Molina, Florida. Their base bid is $175,815.54. Again, $175,815.54. And their bid bond is included. Okay, and this next one is Southland Contracting Incorporated, located in Midway, Florida. Southland Contracting Incorporated in Midway, Florida. Base bid $486,571.10. $486,571.10. And their bid bond is included. Next one is Oliver Sperry Renovation. Again, Oliver Sperry Renovation. They are located in Tallahassee, Florida. Their base bid is $175,997. Again, $175,997. And actually, Oliver Sperry was actually the contractor that had contacted Doug Schuler regarding their bid bond because they were not able to get it issued yesterday. So that will be the same situation where they will need to provide to Doug Schuler. Okay, this next one is F&F Construction, and F&F is located in, let's see here, Port St. Joe, Florida. F&F Construction. Their bid amount is $260,669. $260,669. Their bid bond is included.
All right, Ms. Aaron, do we know who's going to review this?
We will actually return this bid to the architect Doug Schuler for his review and recommendation.
Make a motion to turn it over to the committee and come back for a recommendation.
Second.
So we have a motion to approve that action by Commissioner Sanders. It's been seconded by Commissioner Ward. Any discussion, Commissioners, before we vote?
Just one quick, that bid bond on F and F did they have a bid bond?
They did.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's a unanimous vote, 5-0. Right. Ms. Aaron, you ready for some fun?
Sure.
All right, go ahead. Well, before you get started, Commissioners, is there anything on Ms. Aaron's report that you would like to pull for consideration individually? Or are you good with discussing them as one?
I'm good with all of them consent, Mr. Chair.
Good with all of them consent?
I
Okay.
am. I don't know about the rest.
I am.
Anyone else? I do want to ask one question though, if we do that.
Okay.
What is the timeline? I want to make sure the public is aware that we're looking at on the transfer station. What's the timeline look like?
Well, the transfer station project, of course, step one is to accept the notice of award through the U.S. Treasury.
Yes.
And then I will come back at the next meeting and we'll actually have a grant administration proposal from me from Langton, which is your Restore Consultants. And then also from there, we will start working on doing the RFQ for engineering services for the project. So we're probably still a good 2 years out realistically.
Okay.
Before actually seeing construction, because you also have the extensive federal permitting reviews that we have to
Well,
go through.
that's the thing that concerned me, if I'm honest, when I was looking at the documentation, was one of the things when from month 4 to month 24. And then the other was like 5 months apart, 5 months apart, you know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah,
it seemed like a long time at the beginning.
it
But
is.
maybe they've given themselves that time because they know that the federal government's going to be involved.
Yeah.
So, okay. Any other questions, or if not, I'm good with entertaining a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward. We have a second by Commissioner Curran. We are approving by consent items 1 through 6 on Ms. Aaron's agenda. Any discussion before we vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Ms. Aaron, do we have any updates to talk about?
We do. The Restore SGI Stormwater Project, the final installation of pipes and inlets should be completed this week. Extreme temperatures did impact the construction schedule. Roadway resurfacing and retention pond grading and landscaping will begin afterwards. There was also several inlets that I had mentioned to project engineers because they appeared to be a little high in their elevation. They weren't, basically weren't set deep enough. So we are going to look at those inlets as well. So yes, those are going to receive some attention.
So quick question. After they go from this part of the project to the paving side, are they going to be able to change some of those inlets if they're still too high?
It will need to occur prior to paving.
Okay, so they need to answer that prior to paving.
Correct.
Because the last thing I want to do is take somebody to court, but they are going to be right when they get through.
Correct.
This is a $5 million project. And if we still have drainage issues on the island in the commercial district, somebody's going to have a problem, it ain't me.
And I do want to mention something about that. You'll actually notice earlier on in my report, I had actually mentioned an area of drainage improvement for one of the roadway grant applications. And the area that's actually in front of Harrier's Bar and Grill, that area was somewhere that actually the ponding started after we had started the permitting process.
Yes.
Because of course we started working on this project back in 2021.
Yep.
And then in the aftermath, there was basically some elevation changes on the waterfront parcel in front of Harrier's, and it kind of changed the flow in front of there. So that's one thing that we hope to be addressed with the other grant application, because it would actually shoot the water probably farther to the west.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Ms. Aaron, I wasn't trying to cut you off, I'm sorry.
All right, let's see. Island View Park FERDAP project. Project is currently out to bid. The mandatory pre-bid meeting is scheduled on site at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Construction bids will be opened at the March 4th meeting. Patton Drive resurfacing project, planner Bree Robinson and project inspector Kim Raffield attended pre-construction meeting on Thursday of last week. The notice to proceed for construction was issued yesterday, February 17th. 8th Street East Dune Walkover, the project permit specifications and the design are attached. The project is currently out to bid, and the mandatory pre-bid meeting for that project is scheduled at the East Point Annex for 11 a.m. Friday. DW Wilson Sports Arena lighting project, the light poles have been installed. The project is moving along quickly. Attorney Schuler, I believe, just received the easement documentation from Duke Energy yesterday, but he has not had a chance to review yet.
Right. Well, I think you do need to go ahead and take action to authorize the chairman to execute the easement deed. May as well go ahead and do that now,
Okay.
as opposed to me waiting for me to review it and then bring it back at the next meeting.
Okay. All right, so you're talking about for where the lighting poles are being installed?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the original deed that they sent did not, the document was incomplete and it didn't have a drawing on it. Yes, I know, I feel like I'm reliving
No, you're
2020,
good.
right?
You're good.
But this is for y'all's protection, not mine. They finally sent the drawing at my request. I've had Mr. Davis look at the drawing to make sure that wherever they were proposing to put the power lines would not interfere with his operations at D.W. Wilson Park. He's given his sign off on it, so as far as I'm concerned, it's just, print the deed and have you sign it and send it to them and get the work done.
All right. It also helped because baseball and softball's gonna start pretty soon as well.
I had started.
Has-
That's why I said thank you. Thank you both.
Okay, so what's the pleasure of the board? Before we vote on this, though, I will call for public comment, because it was not on our agenda. But does the board want to take action or no? If you do, we would have to have a motion in a second first, then I will call for public comment.
Mr. Chairman, but this is time sensitive, right? So.
Well, it's gonna help with what's going on in that area,
Yeah,
yes.
so I'm okay with calling for public comment. I mean, it's not like a hot topic or anything, it's just making sure we get lights.
Oh, yeah,
So-
yeah. Well, so first we need a motion and a second, then we can call for public comment.
Make a motion.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Amison, second by Commissioner Ward. Is there anyone in the public or online that wishes to comment on this publicly, as it was not published in our agenda previous to now? This is a time for public comment.
If you're online, please indicate that you'd like to comment by raising your hands on your smart device. No hands raised.
No hands, all right. Seems to be no one in the room. I want to make sure everybody knows what we're talking about. So we're putting in a new lighting system at D.W. Wilson Park here in Appalachia. And there was some issues with areas that we need to get easements from Duke Energy to be able to install some of those poles. As the season, the kids have already started practicing for the season, so we're trying to expedite this instead of coming back to the next meeting to have this kind of vote. So that's all we're really looking at today. Any other discussion before we vote? There was no public comment. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Go ahead, Ms. Harris.
Okay. Also, the stormwater permit application has been submitted for the D.W. Wilson Sports Arena pickleball courts. So that's another moving in the right direction. SGI Fishing Pier Boat Ramp Access Road, the permit application has also been submitted for those repairs. So, of course, the permitting for that one will likely take much longer, but we're hopeful that it will happen sometime this year. SGI Multi-Use Path Project, the path has been resurfaced. They're awaiting crosswalk connections, pavement markings, and benches after the pavement has sufficient time to cure. Carolina Street, actually in Lanark Village, has been resurfaced. I spoke to Andy Bailey this morning, and the striping contractor is in the county, and he's starting to work on the road paving segments that were awarded as part of the 2025 project.
Let me tell y'all something, that was the mess.
What was the mess? Before or after?
Carolina. No, let me tell you, what happened, it had never, well, you know what, you look at it and you don't have that many people living on it. Now you got a lot of people living on it and you need a better road. But when he went in there to do it, he went to take up the old asphalt. It was just crumbling like sand. And it wasn't nothing, did not have, yeah, sugar sand. Did not have any base whatsoever on it. No base. So it's a mess, but now I know the people's happy because they've been wanting it repaved. So, anyway.
And then one other update for Rumen Park in East Point. The basketball court is in the process of being resurfaced this week. And also, I wanted to compliment Commissioner Kroom. I did ride out to Sylvester Williams Park, and the volleyball courts look fabulous.
Yes.
That's very nice.
Yes.
Yep, looking really good.
Question on Sylvester Williams, did the lights work?
They weren't. That was a thing that Director Davis and I, discussion that we talked about is potentially, because I know we don't have portable lights in the county, EOC, but the sheriff office does. Maybe they can utilize portable lighting.
That's something.
But no.
That's where that's where our first practice was, and I was getting bombarded. When are we gonna have Wilson open? And me and one of the guys at work would do was walking around trying to find the switch, and he said, "I don't think this is hooked up," because he went to naming all some stuff that was out of my pay grade. But I figured I would ask right quick. But the beach volleyball court looks great.
Really.
I mean, I started to get my Speedo on.
Can the Sylvester get Musco too? I mean, did they, I know we have one, can two parks can't go out for FERDAP grants, it has to be one, right?
Actually, we can go out for a FERDAP grant, but we requested, through FERDAP, we did a basketball court improvement, and actually Bree worked on that application.
Yeah.
And then for legislative appropriation, the lights were one of the requests.
Yeah, and they were in the original release of the budget.
Yeah.
It is in
Okay,
there.
good.
Yeah.
Is my pickleball court in there?
I didn't remember everything. It was a pretty long list.
Well, and that was from FERDAP. That's
It
what I was
was,
going to
yep.
ask.
That was the second FERDAP that we.
How is the FERDAP funding though? Is it still the 80 million? Or you don't know?
I didn't look at it.
Have you had an update on the
We haven't
status of
seen any
that?
updates on FERDAP.
I got to have that pickleball court in mine on. But anyway, Mr. Chairman, can I ask a couple more things? Where do we stand on the fire department demolition? Have y'all got the final permit or?
They're working through the permitting process right now.
Well, how much longer we got to watch them work on the permit process?
Unfortunately, it takes a while.
We've been working on that a long time.
Yeah.
And then where are we at on the bike, the extension of the bike path and all that?
That was actually approved in the draft DOT work plan. So the funding, we just kind of have to wait for the funding to come through
Funding to
FDOT.
get there, I figured that.
I think it was
That's
in
all I
the
got for there.
2028 cycle, if my memory serves correct.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Sarah, do they update that annually?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah.
What time of the year they normally update that?
Let's see, they made the announcement
March or so?
for the draft work plan. I think they released that in November.
Okay.
And then it's usually finalized sometime through session.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually happens this
So
spring.
usually around March, probably. Okay.
Yeah, when the budget gets
Okay.
approved.
All right. Anyone else have any questions for Ms. Aaron?
Yes, I
Even
do.
done with her, were you even done with your informational items?
Oh, yes, I was at that point. Yeah.
Aaron, I went over to the EMS station, the new EMS station
Yes.
finally, and looked very good over there. I noticed when I was getting a tour, a bunch of excess items, like a bunch of big tiles and everything.
Oh, okay.
So does that go to the hospital now, or do the contractor come pick all this stuff up?
Some of those items should remain, because I know they had left behind some buckets of paint and different things, and that would actually be useful to have on hand. Let's say if one of the floor tiles were to bust in the bathroom or something along those lines, it would really be good to actually store those items somewhere. So anything that's left behind, they probably need to find a good place to kind of lock them away.
And I noticed, like the vents and stuff, I guess got to come in and cut holes in, like for the dryers. So were you aware of any of that?
Okay, I was not aware of that.
Yeah,
Okay,
that was
okay.
totally
So
when I was
thank
walking.
you. I will give the contractors a call on that.
Okay.
Because they're not finished yet either. Because we we awarded the change order for the emergency backup generator, and that will likely not be installed probably for 2 or 3 more months because they had to order it.
Gotcha. Well, that looked real good.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else have anything for Ms. Aaron?
Just one thing, this, I guess this might be a question for you too, Mr. Chairman. But
Yes.
when are they going to start paving from East Point to Carabel?
That's a good question
I
that
was
I've asked
asked.
many times.
I think it might have been, but I mean, I was asked, so I figured I would.
Well,
I
nobody,
assumed that
that's
they
a
would already be
question of the
starting,
day,
but-
because I do not, Mr. Chairman, I will say that there is a sign now just past Franklin Street in East Point that says road work, next 16 miles.
Yes.
So I don't think they would put that up if they're gonna wait another 2-3 months, before they actually start paving it.
Well,
So,
Yeah, I think what
I'm
it
hoping
is
soon.
they have shoulder work to do. They've
Yeah,
done
that's
the
the first
drainage
thing.
work.
Mhm.
Now they have shoulder work to do, and everything's got to be done, and the pavement's last.
Right. And honestly, I'm just asking because I've been asked. and
Oh,
my
yeah?
feet are
Yes.
getting tired from tap dancing, so.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
it's-
Mr. Chairman, I did get a response yesterday, it was a little later than we did. Let me make sure I know my way to the exit. So, it won't start paving probably until after spring break has already started, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They're having, I know nobody wants to hear that, I get it. But it is what it is, because as you just stated, there's still plenty of shoulder work that has to be done.
Yes.
And there's still working on some drainage work, believe it or not. I know we
They
tried
are,
to,
they are.
we tried to avoid that,
Yeah.
but it is.
And also what they're probably looking at, Michael, I mean, I'm not with DOT, but we've been doing this for a little while. They're probably waiting until it gets warmer so they can work more than just during the daytime.
Yeah,
And they can't do that when we've actually had some cold weather this year.
yeah.
That's not conducive to paving. So they're waiting until it gets warmer so they can probably work 24 hours if they need to, or work night shifts, or, because it'll be warmer.
Yeah.
And they can actually do
and,
the
and
asphalt.
lighter out later.
Like what was talked about the parking earlier
Yes.
with Alligator Point, you know, I'm hoping we don't have another rainy season
Yes.
like we did last
Yeah.
year. It prevented the parking, that's good, but by the same token, that's going to affect paving. It just does. It is what it is, But yeah, I got that word yesterday evening, sir.
So sometime in March, so.
Yeah.
Well,
Few-
and you know-
few weeks out.
We're fixing to go into a different weather pattern too.
We are.
And we're gonna be moving out of the La Nina into the El Nino. And when you do that, you get a little bit more water and storms and stuff, so everybody needs to be vigilant about that because it's gonna happen. We've been on a drought for so long.
Yeah, there was some welcome rain here or something.
Yeah.
Anything else before we move on?
You good?
All right. You're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she said she
Uh,
did.
All right, I think we're done with Miss Aaron's report. Mr. Chuck Anderson, City Manager for Apalachicola. Thank you for being here with us today.
Well, thank you, Commissioners, and good morning. My name is Chuck Anderson. I'm the City Manager in Apalachicola, and I'm here today to seek your support to assist the city in funding a portion of the Scipio Creek electrical upgrades. Having been the city manager since the end of September, I quickly learned a number of things. So when I say Scipio Creek, I also mean Mill Pond, because I understand that the terms can be interchangeable depending on whether you're somebody who grew up here or somebody who's new here. What I would like to provide is a little bit of additional information for the commission and the community. The marina at the Mill Pond is a city marina, and it is not a private one. So it is not subsidizing a private entity as we do these electrical upgrades and infrastructure upgrades. The damage to the marina was primarily occurred during Hurricane Michael in 2018, and the fixes are long overdue. The total cost for the electrical upgrades was scoped and quoted at about $470,100. The upgrades are part of the restoration efforts to bring the system back to full operational status and to improve the resiliency of that critical infrastructure to withstand future storms. The upgrades include demolishing the old electrical system and installing 4 elevated electrical panels, installing four new meter bases and panel boxes to service those newly installed dock power boxes, installing new light fixtures for existing light poles at the dock, and also to install 2 new light poles with fixtures. The electrical work will be able to withstand 140 mile per hour ultimate wind speed in accordance with the Florida Building Code. The city just completed dock and piling repairs at a cost of approximately $102,000. And the city is also working to fix the ADA accessible elevator that is at Mill Pond. With that, the city is requesting that the county commission support this project, potentially through the available residual balance in the CRA of approximately $130,000. That's all I have for my report, unless you have any questions.
Okay. Have any questions, commissioners? So I do have one question. Currently, any tenants that are at the Mill Pond that are using it, that are parking their strip boat there or other boat, what is the average cost they're paying per month to be there?
Commissioner, I don't have that off the top of my head. I will definitely get that information and provide it back to the commission.
Okay.
I got a question.
Okay, good.
Aaron, how much is in that Apalachicola CRA that we got?
The amount remaining is actually the $130,175.33. That is the available balance within the funds that the county has been holding. However, they are requesting for the funds to be given as an advancement, but we historically have done reimbursement as far as, so I don't know if that would work for the city, if you all would be okay with the reimbursement basis.
We would make it work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
And Commissioner Jones,
130.
130.
Commissioner Jones, if I
sorry.
could, I do know the rates are being looked at because I know they are very competitive. And in fact, the rates for the individuals that are out there are, from what I understand, according to industry standards, very low. So we are looking at those rates, but we can't really look to increase rates for individuals who are there until we can make these upgrades. We need to take care of the docks, the pilings, the electrical. We need to make sure the facility is in better shape and the infrastructure is repaired before we would look at changing rates.
Well, the reason I was asking that, number one, I didn't know. I was hoping you would know, but number two, I know that a lot of the utilization currently that has been at the Mill Pond for forever are commercial shrimpers. So, I'm glad that the city's finally, I shouldn't say finally, but the city's repairing this infrastructure and doing and taking that on. It's been needed. A lot of people that have been there, whether it was a lower amount or not, they've been paying it the whole time, even with the way the infrastructure has been. So I'm just hopeful that it doesn't turn out to be a doubling of their rent because renovations have been made. That's my expectation.
Okay, well, thank you. And I will get that information back to the commission.
Okay.
Aaron, refresh my memory on something. I think it was under Manager Wade when he came before this commission. Didn't we agree to set funding aside for this?
We did, yes. He had originally came and presented to the board, and I believe it was more of a conceptual approval.
Yes.
Yeah, because he didn't have any hard quotes or anything available for us at that time. But yes, we have discussed it previously.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, were you done?
I
I had the same question. I did, and I appreciate you taking my call yesterday, Mr. Anderson. I did talk to him about some things. That was one of my questions too, after I got on the phone with him, but I'm glad you brought it up. Again, this is for commercial shrimpers. I mean, they use these docks and have for years. There's boats that have been way before any of us were even around that were built and moored there. So if we can help with this project in any way, I'm for it. So I don't know. I know we've got the 130,000, and Aaron, I don't want to put you in a spot. Is there any other? I know this quote. When I got this quote, I was like, "Whoa, $410,000." I'm like, "What's this all about?" It is a lot of money, but I understand there's a lot of infrastructure that needs to take place. And I meant to ask this to Mr. Anderson: is this something that we would have? I guess the question I need to ask is there any other money that we put aside that we could contribute more than the 130,000 to this, or?
The 130 would be the only thing that the county could do. In discussions with Chuck, I had actually asked him, like, well, are you all able to complete the entire project? And he did relay that they had ARPA funding remaining for the rest of the balance, but.
Yeah, and if I could correct that, not correct, but just add to that, is we have some CIP funding that we can take a portion of out, and we're pursuing another grant to finalize the full funding scheme for the project.
Okay. With that, Mr. Chairman, I guess we need to have a motion to, I'll make a motion to direct before I do that though, the reimbursement. I want to make sure that we reimburse, not cut them a check. Nothing against the city or you or anything, but I want to make sure that this money is actually going, again, nothing against you or anybody, but I just want to make sure that we are, funding this particular project specifically. So do I need to make the motion to reflect the reimbursement?
Please.
Or how
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to make a motion to reimburse this money to the city of Apalachicola
Second.
for the repairs.
And you all can submit progress billings as well, so. Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
So we do have a motion to approve this request with the understanding that it's a reimbursement for this individual project. And as the county receives invoices, we will do the reimbursement. That motion was made by Commissioner Ward. It's been seconded by Commissioner Croom. Any other discussion before we vote? I do want to ask one question, Mr. Chuck. Sorry, Mr. Anderson. The quote that we have in this packet is from November, and it says at the bottom of the quote that it's only good for 30 days.
Correct. That was not the actual company that actually won the bid for the project. We just asked them to scope this so we would have an approximate idea of what the overall cost is. Tracking with the company that did put in the quote, it is in that ballpark there.
Okay. Fair enough.
Thank you.
Any other discussion before we vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Thank you
Anything
for
else,
your
sir?
support, and no offense taken.
Thank you. All right, Michael, do we need, nope, you got it set up. Ms. Destiny Bates with the Appalachian Regional Planning Council.
Would you reassure her that our meetings have been running really, really quickly?
Lately we have, but not today. Come on, Ms. Destiny, good to see you here today.
Good morning.
Now tell us before you get started all you have with you, so we'll know.
So hey, I'm Destiny Bates. I'm the new environmental project manager at the Appalachia Regional Planning Council. With me, I have our new environmental planning manager, Brian Bransford, and then Lydia Johnson works on our vulnerability assessments. So I just wanted to come today, introduce our new faces, and then give some updates on the Living Shoreline project that we have going on. We're about to start up construction again, so we're really excited to get going. So you'll be seeing us a lot in the community more.
Good.
So just some high level, I'm sure you guys are all really familiar with this project. Just some high level goals that we had. We want to install 20 acres of new reef, 30 acres of new marsh down Highway 98. This will bring a lot of benefits to the area. Tourism is a big one, potentially pulling people to the area to see one of, if not the largest, living shoreline in the state. We've also already seen a boost in fishing in the area. We've seen a lot of fishermen out there catch some really good redfish. It's also just a very good scenic drive now. And then economic development is another one. We wanted to try to keep the money as local as we could, so we've gone with a lot of local contractors. Franklin's Promise Coalition, Coastline Construction, and North Florida Construction are some that have helped us with the work so far. And then this diagram that you can see, we wanted to stick with the kind of nature-based solutions. So the one on the left shows kind of a typical linear layout of a living shoreline, and then we went with a more organic layout, which helps boost biodiversity, as well as just looking pretty. Here's some before and after conditions. So the before, you can see very small shoreline, a lot of man-made riprap structures. Below is a generated photo of our goal, what we hope to achieve, a larger shoreline. And I do want to point out that this this project will not stop storm surge, but it will help with everyday erosion, which will make the shoreline more resilient in those storm events.
Ms. Destiny, one of the things that transpired because of this project, commissioners ought to make sure you're aware of it. There was nothing on DOT's 5-year plan to pave the road between Carroll and East Point until after this project got approved.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It was not in their thing. They were not gonna fund it, because the road was constantly eroding and wearing out. There's a lot of problems. But since this, 6 months after this project actually got going, DOT put it in their 5-year plan for the next year.
Okay.
So that's where we're at, and that's why we're about to get that road paved. It's part and parcel of this. So not only is it meeting, and I'm not trying to steal your thunder,
You're good.
not only is it meeting the ecological concerns of the living shoreline, it's also helping protect the infrastructure that the state's putting taxpayer dollars in to make sure we have a good and decent road in the county. Go ahead.
For sure. Thank you for adding that. So just adding some design considerations that we've gone through. The design started back in 2019-ish, 2020. There were a lot of seagrass studies, pilot testing, monitoring, and we really wanted to focus on the stakeholder community aspects. So we did a lot of community workshops, getting a lot of input on the most vulnerable areas along 98, so we can do our project in those areas that need it the most. So far, we've had 3 different funding sources. First was FDEP. They helped with the preliminary planning. So that's done. We moved on to the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation with the Emergency Coastal Resilience Fund. That helped with the rest of the design and permitting, and also the phase 1 construction that we have already completed. And right now we're working with the Gulf Environmental Benefit Fund. That will help, or that will get us through the rest of construction that we have planned, and then monitoring after. Since we're picking up momentum now with more construction starting, we are gauging interest for future phases, and we are looking for funding sources for those additional phases. So here we have a map of the areas. The green is phase 1 that we've had completed. That is the Franklin County School and Tatel East and West. That was completed back in May 2024. Phase 2 is just kind of an extension of those phase 1 areas, and that construction is set to start next month. And then phase 3 we have in the blue. That's approximate right now. We're still working with our landowners to get those permitting documents finalized, so we can have those exact parcels where we're going to include. And just more about our construction. As I said, phase 1 was completed. It covered about a mile of shoreline. That was all public area, and we installed 99 reefs and about an acre of marsh. And since that marsh was planted, we've had a 30% growth for the area, and we've also seen oyster coverage on all the reefs that we've installed. Some are pretty much 100% covered with oysters. Phase 2 and 3 are both include private landowners. Phase 2 permitting, everything's done. We're just waiting on construction to start, waiting for that funding. Then phase 3, we are still working with those landowners. This week and last week I've been picking up boundary line agreements to get them added to the project. Our internal cutoff to get all those together is the end of this month, so we're looking real good to meet that deadline.
Cool.
And then these are just some of our project partners. We have myself, the project manager, Will Mather with WSP, who helps with engineering and consulting, and then Rick Carter, who also helps with design and consulting. And I just want to say we're very excited to get construction started back again, and if you have any questions, I can answer them.
We're excited to have you guys here today. I'm not trying to take away from the commissioners asking questions. Rick has been kind of with this project since it started, like myself. You know, didn't think we'd ever get as far as we did, but I'm glad we did, because I think it's going to help. You know, there were some valid concerns that we addressed in the beginning that you guys might not be aware of. Some commissioners were afraid that these artificial reefs were going to be creating oyster habitat, and people were going to try to be eating the oysters and getting sick and all those things. Those are valid things, but most of this has created marsh areas, and I'm just glad to see it continue to go forward, because what's different, and you kind of said it when you were saying your presentation, there were a bunch of property owners that didn't want to have nothing to do with it to begin with. No, we don't have nothing to do with that. You're taking away our use of our property, or this, that, or the other, or whatever. So they didn't want to do it. Then we did the first stage, and things actually went well, and now all of a sudden a lot of people want to do it. So
And that's
thank y'all
kind of
for-
why we
yeah.
did it that way, just public property as an example.
Yes.
And it is completely voluntary. We're not making these landowners participate, but it really is a benefit for them, so.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Chairman, I will say, in looking at the project itself, when I first started, I'm gonna be honest, I was a little skeptical because I thought, well, the first big storm that comes, those little rocks that are out there is gonna be pushed onto the highway, and it's gonna become a county problem. But I'm actually amazed because we've had several bad storms since that project, and how it's all come together, and those rocks are still there, the marsh grass is still there, so I'm impressed with how that all's transpired. So it is interesting to see, and anything we can do, in my opinion, to help erosion of our road or anything like that is I know it's FDOT, but still, I feel like it's worth it. So, but anyway, thank y'all for being here and being patient and waiting your turn.
Thank you, guys.
Anyone have any questions, any commissioners?
No, I miss Evan. I miss him on that project. He was good.
Yeah.
He's good. But it has significantly grew back toward the shoreline. All those grasses, those native grasses that's in there. It has really done a very good job, and I hope that one day I can ride across there and you won't even see the rocks. That's what the intent of it is, to build a shoreline up. So hopefully.
It just take time. So what was happening, especially like with East Point Channel, over the years, the reason it got so filled in down at the east end by Barber Seafood is because every time we would have a major storm, it would erode Highway 98 toward East Point, and it would fill in the channel, and they'd come put more back to put 98 back. And we get another storm, and it would erode, and it would matriculate toward, it was just a bad cause and effect. So maybe this will help with some of that as well. So it's all good. Thank y'all for being here today, and we really appreciate all you do on behalf of Franklin County from the Regional Planning Council. All right, this is Grayson Free. Michael?
Here.
Is he awake? Are you
I'm
awake?
here.
There you go. Go ahead, sir. You're up next.
All right, appreciate you guys having me on there. I want to apologize right off the bat for when I logged in. I was apparently eating breakfast, and you guys got to see all that. My phone blew up. Everybody's like, "Shut your camera off." I'm new to this internet. Pretty much, I'm here just to ask you guys approve the request for application for a grant, the FWC grant for artificial reefs. The paragraph that's in the agenda pretty much sums it up. There's roughly 10 grants awarded statewide to counties. We're working in coordination with OAR, the Organization of Artificial Reefs. They're the Reef Association for Tallahassee. They put a lot of stuff out on the eastern side of the county, off of Carabel, off of Alligator Point. You guys are familiar with them. We're kind of working together. They're applying for the same grant. It's a $60,000 grant. If both of us are awarded this, we're going to pool them together and try to get some material in that Franklin 30-mile reef. That's basically if you draw a line between here and Carabel and then put a point 30 miles out in the Gulf of Mexico, basically right between our two communities, that's where this reef is. If you're familiar with the Exxon template or the S Tower, it's right there in that area, 105 feet deep. It's roughly a little under half a mile wide by 1.5 miles deep, north and south. But I just need you guys to approve us to apply for the grant. I guess Michael's got all the information there. We were awarded this grant in 2024, $60,000. We added some Apalachicola artificial reef funds to it, and this was that last deployment that we did in I think it was August of 2025 that went to the Buddy Ward Reef. So we skipped a year, just kind of let it rest. This is, we're applying again. Because we're working with OAR, we feel pretty confident that hopefully we will be awarded. FWC is really happy that we're working together with the neighboring Reef Association to combine our efforts into one spot. So we feel pretty confident, but I just need you guys to sign off on it.
Okay.
It is a reimbursement award, so we would have to pay the contractor first, and immediately afterwards we get reimbursed the $60,000. So Erin's already done this before, so she's familiar with the process.
All right. Any questions, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I'll just, I'll make a motion to approve with comment.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. by Commissioner Ward,
Second.
second from Commissioner Amison. Commissioner Ward, go ahead with your comment.
I just want to tell you, thank you, Grayson, for taking on the role of the riparian stakeholders member from the board. When Michael and I met with Mr. Jones, I'm going to be honest, you were the first name that popped in my head. I didn't say your name over the meeting because I didn't know how you felt about it, but I appreciate you taking on that role. So thanks. And I know you had your first meeting this morning.
Second.
That's my second, actually.
Second, okay.
And since you brought it up, you guys are aware there's a resolution that needs to be signed by you guys. I guess.
Yeah, hold on just a second, Grayson. Let's vote on this. Let's keep the discussion to this. We'll let you talk in a minute.
Yeah.
Any more discussion on this motion before we vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Go ahead, Mr. Grayson.
Okay, so yeah, I did attend that meeting this morning. It was my second one, and actually Brock Shiver attended this one, so it's good to see him. Glad that you guys invited him on board. That it's nice to see younger people in our community starting to get active, because we'll need him down the road. But back to the RCSC, that resolution that you guys are aware of, I know there were some clerical changes that were made to it, but there's the 6 counties along the river. 4 of them have already signed the resolution. I think Jackson County is doing it today, tomorrow, and then that leaves us. So you guys, it's something that needs to be dealt with, because we need to present that to the Corps of Engineers.
Yes.
So just be aware of that.
Yeah, I thought
No,
we
you
already
guys,
did
I'm
that
sorry,
too.
you guys already proved that.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Attorney Schuler to get back to change the language for me and get the chairman to re-sign the new version.
Okay.
So yes, that's been approved.
Excellent.
Yes.
That's all I have to say. There's nothing really going on there. The Corps of Engineers is still working through their process of dredging, whether it's going to happen, how it's going to happen. You know, we're really not clear on that. It's the federal government, and they're slow as molasses.
Yeah, well, we just want our maintenance contract, dredge maintenance contracts. That's what we want and need. So anyway, thank you again.
You bet. I'll keep you guys posted on that as needed.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Grayson. Ms. Bree, do you need any time, or are you ready to roll?
She's probably been ready for almost 3 hours now.
I'm ready.
All right, go ahead.
All right, let me share my screen. Perfect. All right, we'll start with critical shoreline applications. I have 225 Rio Vista. This is a consideration of a request for the construction and use of a dock boathouse totaling 1,403.78 square feet of structure. Property is located in Sopchoppy, Franklin County, Florida. Request submitted by Joseph Webster, Spartan Exteriors LLC, agent for Michael and Jenny Crowder, applicants.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
If it's truly located in Sopchoppy, that's not our jurisdiction.
It is on our side of the river. This is just how the address populates.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's in Franklin, before you get to the bridge.
I thought the same thing, but like, when I looked at the map, I'm like, yeah, no, that's us.
P&Z questioned that as
Yeah.
well.
Okay. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say this was a unanimous approval of recommendation from the P&Z board, and they do have their permits in order.
We're gonna just go one by one.
Uh,
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
We can, yeah. We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Sanders,
Second.
second by Commissioner Ward. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Let's talk about River Road.
All right. One second while I get this. All right, so this is another critical shoreline application for 570 River Road. This is a consideration of a request for the installation of a second 168 square feet uncovered boat lift to the existing dock. Property is located in Carabel, Franklin County, Florida. Request submitted by Jessica Williams, Edgewater Group agent for Frederick Jones applicant. This was also a unanimous approval for recommendation by the P&Z board.
Okay. Are you the applicant, ma'am?
I am.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicant?
No, Mr. Chairman, I was just thinking, when I was looking at this and reviewing this, I was looking at where the other boat lift was gonna go, because I didn't want it sticking out in the water, but if you can see, I think Ms. Bree has it on the top there, it's actually going in on the side, so it's not gonna impede any kind of navigation, to me, in my opinion, on the river there. Is that correct, Bree? Where that purple is, that's where the new dock, I'm sorry, the new proposed lift is gonna go?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak to that? Okay.
Yeah, okay. So I think that's the one I have pulled up. Yeah. Yeah, right there on the side.
And
Yeah.
you know, we've had this before about New River. The way New River is and the curves, and you're gonna have to do it like that, where it comes out so far and then goes along the coast, you know,
Yeah.
goes along the shoreline.
Yeah.
For it to be able to
With that,
anything.
with that, Mr. Chair, as long as no other commissioners have any concerns or anything, I will vote to approve that, motion to approve this.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward,
Second.
second by Commissioner Croom. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Commissioners, before Bree moves on, for a different reason that I know the chairman's going to ask me about a little later, I need you guys to pay attention to all these site plans and pictures that are coming up. And just for a whole different reason, it has nothing to do with P and Z, but it has an ADA tune to it. But I don't know if Bree's going to be here, so I don't know if I have access to this, you know, but I just need you guys to pay attention to these issues. Okay, sorry, Bree.
Next, we have a variance request. It's for the same address, 570 River Road. This is a consideration of a request to install a living shoreline consisting of approximately 171 linear feet of natural limestone concurrent with the planting of native plants to stabilize an eroding shoreline along the Carabel River. Property located in Carabel, Franklin County, Florida. Request submitted by Jessica Williams, Edgewater Group, agent for Frederick Jones, applicant.
All right, and how was this handled by the P and Z?
Unanimous approval recommendation from P&Z.
Any questions, Commissioner?
No, Mr. Chairman, I'll just make a motion to approve with a comment.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward,
Second.
second by Commissioner Amison. Commissioner, go ahead.
Just as variances come before the board, you know, we have to ask ourselves the question, is there a hardship? And anybody, in my opinion, that comes, to me, I'm one of five, but if anybody comes asking to protect their investment and their property by putting riprap or a seawall or something to protect the erosion of their property or protect from the erosion of the property, I'm going to be for. Now, of course, I look at everything else in addition to just that, but with that, like I said, I'm in favor of this, and that's why I'm approving this variance, is they're protecting their property.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous, 5-0.
Thank you.
Ms. Bree.
All right. All right. So the next is a variance request for 1369 Chip Morrison Drive. This is a consideration of a request for a variance of a 90 feet by 14 feet seawall to be placed above the mean high water line, but within the critical shoreline district. Property is located in Alligator Point, Franklin County, Florida. Request submitted by Josh Hall, Background Consulting, LLC, agent for Anna Bueno. This was also a unanimous recommendation of approval from the P&Z board.
All right. Any questions, Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I do.
Okay.
Are you guys the applicants?
Yes.
Why are you guys way out? If you look at the houses and how they're all set up, and y'all may not know this, I don't know if y'all built the home or you just bought it, but it's sticking out there like a sore thumb and in comparison to all the other ones in the line. I guess I see that it is kind of curving a little bit, but man, oh man, that's pretty close. Which is, I guess, why you guys are wanting to protect it, right?
Yeah, I can comment on that. My name's Mike Weixner. My wife and I live on St. George Island. We're residents here, and I'm the EOR on this project. And this beach area here has changed significantly in the last 2 years. There was formerly, before Helene, the month before, a seawall on 1371, which is just adjacent to it on the west side. And that seawall was backfilled with enough sand to redo the whole beach. And Helene took it out, and that sand actually washed down in front or seaward side of the 1369 property. And this particular property, we had to get surveyed several times for FDEP, and the mean high water line has shifted, and there's actually more beach there now. But under this house, they have lost 6 to 8 feet in elevation of sand, and it has not rebuilt itself. And so it is sticking out there like a sore thumb. Chip Morrison Drive, if you haven't been out there, you may or may not know, was completely reconfigured because of previous storms. DOT had to reconfigure the road just to allow access to this part of Chip Morrison Drive, and the houses at the end of Chip Morrison Drive were there one day and gone the next. So this is a critical need for this area. There's actually 3 properties involved. We're going to go back to Bree for this coming month to continue that wall to the west because of the concerns with 1371 and 1373. So I'm here to answer any questions that you might have, but also to tell you that we really appreciate Bree and her thoroughness with her team to evaluate and just be responsive to the attention to detail in this area and the communication. So if you have any questions, glad to answer them.
Do you have any questions, Commissioner?
Did I answer your question, Jessica?
Yes,
Mr. White.
Just a comment, if you look at that whole area, that whole area has shifted down toward Chip Morrison now, that we have fixed that at, that 1,100 feet there, around where the, joins up to Tom Roberts and all. So, you're gonna have this, you're gonna have the washout that you have, and this is bad. This has always been bad in here, and it's worse down toward the east there, because there's nothing left in there but one old place.
One of the things I'll just add to that is what you're looking at is a picture of the design plan for the new wall with a walkover. This question came up with P&Z about the height of the wall. The wall actually starts 3 feet under the current elevation of the shoreline and then goes up about 10 feet. So it is a significant wall being built, but the design is consistent with the DOT jetties that they do.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, I guess I have a question for Bree. It says here that a recommendation, now this is our P&Z board, P&Z B of A board, recommended approval based on contingent on some permits.
Yes, I should have noted that during talking about their motion, so thank you for reminding me. Just to kind of simplify, this is within the CCCL line, so they have to have a letter of no objection from county staff before they move forward with their application. Staff cannot sign that letter unless they have everything in order, so they do need the variance first in order to submit that application. So while this application doesn't have their permits right now, they're essentially asking for the variance so they can apply. And so I did provide a staff recommendation for a contingent approval. So I'll read that now. It is, staff recommends approval of the proposed variance for seawall installation contingent upon all required permits being obtained as the project is within the CCCL. Should the permitting process require modification to the proposed design, the revised design must be returned to the board for review and approval.
Do we need to amend? What? So we're going to have to amend that motion in my second.
What's the question?
We didn't have a motion on this one.
I thought she.
No, this one.
I don't think they did.
Not yet.
Did I make a motion?
Never mind, you don't listen to me.
I'd like to add one more thing. We are up against the wall with turtle season, and so we're hoping to get this project started. So we'd really appreciate the no objection letter so we can move this project forward.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve based on staff recommendation, which is the motion to approve contingent upon all required permits.
So let's get this straight though, because you're talking about the coastal construction.
Yes, ma'am.
Line, okay. So you all have received your permits from the state?
We have not received the permit.
You have not received
They gotta
them.
wait for this vote today.
But this is what I'm saying though. The thing about it is you've got to watch out for that coastal construction line. And just because we give you approval, don't mean you're gonna get approval at the state level.
Right. We're
Especially
looking
with
for the no
DEP.
letter of objection in order to get the permit.
I would like to ask a question. I mean, it seems like y'all are already in here and know what you're gonna have to have. How many tons of fill are y'all gonna have to have in here?
That's
What do you estimate?
That's a good question, because they've lost so much, but we're looking approximately 300 yards.
300 yards? Looks like it's gonna be more than 300, well, I'm just looking. But anyway, okay. So you made a motion? I'll second it.
All right, so do you have a motion to approve consistent with what the PZ&A board did with a contingency by Commissioner Ward? It's been seconded by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Go ahead, Ms. Bree.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So next is a variance request for 2638 Highway 98. This is a consideration of a request for a variance for 5 feet of encroachment into the 25-foot front setback and 10 feet of encroachment into the 50-foot critical habitat zone setback. So front, they're requesting a 20-foot setback, and in the critical habitat zone, 40 feet is requested from the mean high water line. Property is located in Carabel, Franklin County, Florida, and request submitted by John Pine, applicant. This was a unanimous vote to deny this request by the P&Z board.
All right. Any questions, commissioners? Not, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to have to agree with staff recommendation and P&Z B of A on this. There were a lot of issues that I found with this this particular property. I feel like personally that when you're talking, I know we talk about critical habitat zones and things, but this is the critical habitat versus critical shoreline. So that was an issue for me. Also, I feel like this applicant that purchased the property in December of 2025 should have done their due diligence to see what they could build. Also, I think in reading this, I feel like they can kind of work with county zoning building staff to change the footprint. So I believe there was an open air deck and a garage that was discussed that I feel like they can maybe omit or change to make the footprint of this build where it needs to be. So I feel like that at this point with what we have in front of us today, for me, I'm one person, I'm gonna vote to deny this request.
All right, anyone else have any questions? Yes,
I agree with him.
Is there anyone for the applicant present?
I do not know.
I didn't see anyone online.
Just want to make sure they have
Here.
an opportunity to speak if they're here.
Yeah. Thank you. I didn't think about that.
The chairman is calling if the applicant is attending on Zoom. Please indicate that by raising your hand. No hands raised, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so, Ms. Jessica, have we had any motions yet at all?
I made a motion to
We did,
deny.
okay.
And
And
I think-
Commissioner Sanders seconded, right?
So we do have a motion and a second, correct? Okay. Just want to make sure. Didn't want to call for a vote if there wasn't a motion. That would not be good. Any other discussion before we vote?
Just, Mr. Chairman, please, just for clarification for me, because obviously I've just amended something and then I need some clarification. But this, it's not unbuildable. It's just
No.
not, what they're wanting to build is not buildable.
Correct.
That's correct. If you're looking at the visual, the pink is what they can build with no variance at all. It is 17 feet wide by 75 feet of buildable area. So similar to a shotgun style, just turn sideways.
Gotcha. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Again, that was a vote to deny, and it was unanimous. All right, anything else from Ms. Bree?
That is all from me. Thank you.
All right.
Mr.
All right,
Chairman, I
yes.
gotta go.
Okay,
Be safe.
Drive carefully.
let's take a 5-minute recess.
Take a 5-minute break.
And
Franklin County Board of County Commissioners now back in session. We're going to Mr. Marone's report.
All right, Commissioners, I don't have a big report. As you can see, in front of you, I have 1, 2, 3 action, was it 4 action items? No, just 3. Good. The first one is the Renaissance, Rural Renaissance Bill. You guys, we all support that. Just the town, the commissioner, I'm sorry, Councilman Gamsby of the town, White Springs, he just directly went to, I don't know if he went to the other commissioners, but he went to.
He sent it to all of us.
He did? Good. So you guys are aware of what I'm saying, so he just wanted your support on that. Item 2 was the NEST program. This is on me on the 17th. You know, Ms. House came before the board. We did the letter of support. You guys asked me to put the request for the 10,000 on the next agenda. I failed to do that. She's planning for her summer program. The board was willing to do. We just needed it to be action item that would be should have put it in the next meeting. She's getting ready for her summer program and looking at the budget, not looking too good. So she wanted any help she can get with that. And the third one is the code enforcement class that Mrs. Smith would like to attend. If you looked at that class, it's a very comprehensive class, training and an exam. I don't know if she needs those credits for renewal. Could be. I think she's away at a class right now, so she should be back later in the week. But the board has encouraged any classes that she can take to keep her certification to do that, and that is my 3 action items for the board.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question on number 3.
Okay.
In her registration fee, is the accommodations included in that? Does that, do we need to?
No, that's just, that is just the registration for right now. Accommodations will come as we get closer to the date of the
Okay,
class.
so you're gonna come back and ask?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
all right, I just
Yeah.
wanna make sure she's got a place to stay and it's.
I always try to let her do it so she can try and, like the board, try and get in the same hotel or as
Gotcha.
close to the class, wherever it's being, the
I
class
just
will
know
be held.
normally when we go on our conferences, you just say the cost of
Yeah.
the trip or whatever, that's why I was
And
confused.
we could do that now if you just guys want to go ahead and do registration and expenses, travel.
I would
That's
like
fine.
to personally, just because that way you're not coming back, and that way when she, because these hotels go quick, these rooms
Yes.
go very quick. And I hate for her to have to be waiting on us to make a decision and her not be able to get into where she needs to go. So I guess we're going to do all these on consent, or do we?
You could do on consent and just indicate now that when you do number 3, it will include travel and expenses.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve all 3 with the, on action item 3, include the accommodations for Ms. Smith.
Second.
So we have a motion to approve these 3 items with one minor modification by Commissioner Ward. It's been seconded by Commissioner Croom. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
And I know item 4, Commissioners, is old news right now. It's been broadcast everywhere, but I just thought it was still very important that I put it on my agenda. And if anything changes with their order, which is more a recommendation, not mandatory from how I read it, I will let the board know and let the public know. And if you guys have received any comments about it or not, you know, that's that. And your meeting dates, Commissioners, that's it. Now, I know the chairman has 2 items he's going to talk about. One is a meeting with the DEP secretary. He's going to inform the board of that. And then he's going to move on to the federal requirement for our websites to be ADA compatible.
Yes.
And that is a task all on its own, Mr. Chairman.
It is. So I want to make sure, let's handle the one with the,
So I never heard.
I know, that's.
Okay,
it-
because I'm like.
yes, that's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to respond to.
Exactly what he,
So the next Wednesday, the 25th,
25th.
would be available for a meeting anytime between 8:30 to 12. We just need to be able to tell them what time would be good for us. That was it. I wanted to make sure everybody had at least a week out to be able to plan and know if it'll work, you know what I mean? But
What
that's
was the time?
slot. Anytime between 8:30 and 12 noon.
What was that date again? I'm sorry.
The 25th?
Yeah, I've got something booked that day, but I know it's important. I know I said Wednesday or Friday, but I was expecting, I hadn't heard anything, so I'm like, all
Yes.
right, I guess they.
Well, we can ask them to
So,
modify it, just, you know.
What about the 27th on Friday? Could they?
I can ask them.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
ask them.
Okay.
And if not, Mike can make the 25th work.
Okay. Well, so if we did try to do the 25th, what time would work for you guys?
It would have to be before noon for me
Okay.
because I have the partnership.
Well, all these times are before noon. so-
Well, can we,
Okay.
is it one or just, is one of us or all of us?
No, no, all of it. Yes, so this meeting's been set up by Representative Schoaf
For the.
with the DEP secretary for the commission. So it's not a board meeting, it's, he's actually called that meeting.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yep. So we'll just try to give a time between there and there, and I'll ask them for an alternative to Friday, just in case.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yep.
So we're going with the 25th?
Yes, sir.
For now, unless we could get it moved to the 27th, correct?
Right.
What about, well, we don't know about Commissioner Sanders.
No, we don't, but he can
I'll ask.
assess it with it.
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing is, and Michael and I have talked about this for a while, the federal government has new requirements coming down the line for ADA compliance for our county website, for all county websites, not just ours. Like Michael was talking about a while ago, on the site plan, on the ADA reader, it's got to be able to flip your website to do away with those maps and those drawings and label out what that picture is doing. This is a picture of a dock, the length is so-and-so, the width is so-and-so, the height above the sea level is so-and-so, you know what I mean? It's got to be able to flip all that.
Yes, so every, if I may, sir,
Yes.
so every site plan, every picture, every image
Yes.
that we have on the website will have what they call a alt box. I'm sure
It's right.
that's what he said.
You can click on
And
it.
in that alt box, the reader would have to go over that alt box and has to explain what is on that particular image.
Yes.
Because once someone with that sight disability turns on the reader, that's a blank page that they see. They depend on the alt box to explain what's in front of them. Commissioners, I'm talking about every single site plan. So you saw how many site plans, drawings, everything that just in a very small P&Z meeting came up today. Every single one would have to have that on it. Now, Commissioner Ward, I'll say that one of the things that's been pitched to us, we've talked to different people, well, I have, the different people about this is, well, just don't put site plans online on the agenda, just show them during the meeting. Looking at the public, I don't think the public will like that too much because we've worked very hard in providing as much information as we can to do that. And so, yes, that's very important. You said that over and over again. So we are in the process, me and, I'll be honest with you, I've kind of drafted the chairman into this discussion because he's been talking about this change for some time now, since it's, I believe, the summer, when you guys came back from conference last year. Yeah, he's been talking to me about this to get it done. So now we're getting a lot closer to the date and having to make some decisions. So it's not just the website and the content of the website, it's any document that you have there. And what you cannot do is basically, from what I've been told, you cannot pull it off of, well, let me spin that around. You cannot not provide it on the website and tell them they got to come to the office to pick it up. That is unacceptable. That does not work.
Well, make that accessible.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly,
mean?
because you're still restricting
Yeah.
accessibility. In addition, if they make a public records request in an email and it falls within there's a date going forward to basically have the documents that way, that document has to meet ADA requirements. And if it includes an image, a site plan, a drawing, that alt box has to be completed and added. Now, I will say to you, we have our current vendor, they are good with the reformatting our current website to make it ADA accessible. But they're not too, they basically told the clerk, and myself, Angela actually, that they're not able to help with these documents that we have that has to be that. So if, it would have to be them, and then we have to get a company to help us with the documents. There are other website providers that I've started talking to. Some offer a limited assistance with the documents, and there are others that say, yeah, we're in there with you. We'll train your staff how to use it and provide a maintenance plan that if you have a really tough document, you send it to us, we'll do it for you.
Mr. Chairman, is it Citizen Serve we're gonna transition to for code enforcement?
Yes.
Is that something they can do, since a lot of this stuff is gonna be basically what they do in terms of, because that's where all this is gonna go, right?
Yes,
Citizen Serve. So
Angela
can
is
they-
reaching out to them to ask it, because don't forget, it's not just, like you're saying, it's not just the code enforcement. We use them for zoning, we use them for the building department.
Right, that's what I'm saying,
And
like,
we also
you'd think
have-
they would be,
Maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm looking at other possibilities. The chairman found another software. I believe Civic Plus now owns it. I think they bought it from
Don't know the
somebody.
price though.
Yeah, I'm looking, worried about the price, but still, it's got to get done. So I guess I want you guys to be thinking about this, because I am going to be working on it, and there are times I'm going to present scenarios to you, and I will try my best to say, okay, we can do it this way, but if you want to keep this document on the website or keep putting these type of documents, here's the cost. And it's going to, and I know I'm talking to you guys at the same time when the legislature is talking about reducing our ad valorem taxes. I get that. But this is the federal government. This just isn't for Franklin County or the state of Florida. This goes extended. Attorney Schuler's memory is better than mine, even though he's not feeling well today. When the state did their ADA thing, there was a group of South Florida attorneys that were testing every site, and I think we had a small payout to one of those groups or something to that
Yeah,
effect.
we did something about 25,000 or so.
Well, I thought it was 2,500. Yeah, with a settlement. I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, but. Yeah, I don't, the chairman does not want to end up in that position at a federal level, dealing with this situation, so.
Well, there are penalties and fines possibly be levied for websites that aren't compatible after
Yes.
that date. Now, we're still way ahead of that date, but Michael, what I would rather, if the board's okay, what I'd rather have you do is kind of like you did with the code enforcement software. You do the research, you bring us back something, find us if there are any companies that can kind of help us do all of it.
Okay.
And just let us know, because I don't think it's gonna meet the threshold to have to be bid out. So find us and bring us back a recommendation or some recommendations and let us
Okay.
go from there.
No.
Unless everybody else, unless y'all have a different idea.
I'm fine with that.
Keep in mind, I will be dragging you in some of these discussions.
We need to handle it.
Yeah.
We don't need to, because it's easy to put something to the side and then before you know it, it's been 3 months since you talked about it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Trying to be as active with this as possible. And again, I hate that we're in a position where we have to consider going backwards in the information we put out to the public. I don't like that, We've worked really, really, really hard we put out more information than counties bigger than us, I feel.
Way more.
I pay attention to other counties and their agendas and, what they put out there. So I want to make it better, not worse, let me be honest with it, I really enjoy, and the staff likes it too. The more information that's out there, the less phone calls that staff gets for information.
True.
So it benefits us all the way around. But yeah, we have a little challenge ahead of us. Just want to make the board aware of that.
All right. Anything else about those conversations before we move on?
No,
All right.
I do have something for Mr. Morone though.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I know that the end of February is, they're gonna close out the bay again from oystering. I want, if we can, have someone representing FWC to come give this board, or I don't know if I think it would be best in person
Yeah.
to kind of give us a rundown of how it worked, how it
Okay.
went. But I also want to nail down this whole licensing thing. Like, I had a lot of people come to me and say, well, you know, John Doe got his, but John Doe 2 did not. And it was for some reason or another. It just don't make any sense how they're doing the licensing aspect of it. So I don't know if we can maybe talk to them about how they do it in November or whenever, hopefully we open back up in November, October, November.
No,
But
it'd be October.
if we could change how that happens, or if the ones that have the opportunity now, are they gonna still be able to do it in November, or they have to go back and reapply? I mean, there's just a lot of, I know they had workshops and things like that, but, as far as applying, but I want some clarification, if you will, on how the next process and what the next plan of action is, and an outline of that, if that's okay with the rest of the board.
That's fine. And some of those questions we could probably discuss right now, but I would rather FWC come and break it down to the commission.
Yeah.
But as far as the number is 151.
The people that are like, that have, cannot.
Whatever, that was why I was down there, trying to get them to.
Get it changed.
Yeah, because that's the number going forward, it's 151. Okay, you had 51 people, individuals got their commercial, oystering license. Now, out of that 151, and that we're just gonna use a round number, let's say 30 of those did not go and commercially harvest an oyster.
That's what we need to know.
Between now, or between January and February of next year. So they still have the October, February.
Yeah.
What'll happen then is those 30 will go into a lottery. And then you don't have to meet the same criteria as you did to begin with having catch history between 12 and 20. The violations, I'm not sure about that, but I have to check on that one.
That's, I have a question about that.
But then those individuals that did not have landings between 12 and 20 could apply for
During that lottery time?
During that lottery time.
Okay, that answers some of my questions, because the way it was explained to me was kind of that, and then the violation aspect of it, you know, so.
And again, you know, because I've had these conversations with some folks, so while I was working, you know, here and there, because the bay had already started getting to a point where we couldn't really make a living, so I had to get off the water and go get a job, so I don't have lands between 12 and 20.
Yeah.
Like I said, that was the stakeholders were pushing for that, the oystermen, because they wanted, really, I think it was a rush to try to keep any kind of outside residents from being able to oyster.
Exactly what it was.
And I've said this numerous times, you know, we're kind of unique in our area. We don't have to worry with that, because people are not going to come from all over to come stay on, where they going to stay, St. George Island? I mean, that math don't math.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to make any money.
Yeah.
We don't even have workforce housing. Where are they going to stay? Don't worry about that. But everybody just really wanted to make it to where it was only Franklin County residents that were going to be able to oyster. And that's why that language was put in there, because the only legal way that the state could do it would be to fall back on a catch history.
Yeah.
You say, I mean, that was to appease the people that was wanting it to be just Franklin County folks. So that's one of those things, like I always say, you got to be careful. Well, yeah, because it could come back and
Yep, it did,
yeah.
at some point. Because it did exclude some people.
Yes, it did.
But that was the whole point of using those years, if I'm understanding what you're saying, was to exclude some people.
Yeah,
They
they
just
w-
didn't think it was gonna exclude the people it didn't.
They didn't think it was going to exclude the local people,
Yeah.
but it wound up, some did.
Yeah, that makes sense. It ain't good, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
But yeah, I see a lot of getting a lot of the questions that you're getting as well. But I would love for FWC to come in, because I as they come in, I would like to see really some numbers on what was landed.
Right, that's what, yeah.
You know, just give us a good little rundown of what transpired there.
Yeah, we need to
I'm
do that
interested
more.
to know what the date is.
Ask them to set that up for us.
I will, call John.
There's something else I want to mention to you before.
Mr. Chairman, one thing with that though, I would give them a little time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you know, you
February.
gotta
Let's get the
realize,
dates.
yeah, because
It's
obviously
ended
there
in
were some bugs.
Yes.
You know, and really they were shooting for that October open with setting up the app and the hell in, the hell out and all that stuff. And
they did a really good job of getting it condensed from that, what was it, August? You know, whenever the
Yes.
FWC commission decided
Yes.
they were gonna open January, I mean,
Yes.
they were burning the candle both ends
Oh,
to get
yeah.
it there. But there were still some bugs. And I'm just saying it would probably, I'd
Next
probably
couple
give them a
months.
little time, after the actual closure. That way they have all that information and it's
Yeah.
not one of those,
Probably
we'll
like
get back
April
to you with it, you know?
Yeah, well, maybe the second meeting in March, because February 28th is the last day, so they should be able to get
Yeah,
data.
give them some time.
Yeah.
Tell them
Or
we
April,
don't have
yeah,
that
that's fine.
information we're asking for.
Okay.
I think would be better.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Always something fun, isn't it?
Mr. Chairman, you say you have something else for me?
I thought I did, but I don't remember it now, so it's all good.
I interrupted you, man.
It must not have been important, it's not a problem. Anything
Know where to
else?
find me.
It is what it is. Anything else from Mr. Morone? All right, sir, thank you. Sir, you didn't have a report, did you? That wasn't on the agenda. All right. Any commissioner comments?
Just real quick, just update on everybody on Team Franklin. We've got a negotiations meeting today on that.
I need to ask you something.
But they are preparing, we're kind of waiting for this meeting. We're gonna meet with the Team Franklin board, the 26th, and then be expecting them to come before us, this board, to
Yes.
kind of give an update of how everything's been going along.
Can I ask you a question about that? Sure. Whatever they're proposing, I know this isn't affordable housing. We're not talking about Section 8. We're not talking about stuff like that. We're talking about workforce housing. However, please make sure, one of my concerns is whatever the number ends up being for the rent on the houses they want to do are gonna not be affordable for the workforce we have. So the way we talked about this program to begin with, and it was just the discussion, was not using the economy to qualify you. So it's not like the apartments. What qualifies you is your position in our local economy, in society. You have a, kind of like the governor did with the Hometown Heroes program. You have a certification or a license to do what you do. So you're automatically qualified. Now the discussion's about what do you make and, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not to interrupt, excuse me, but that is, with all the workshops we've had, a lot of the discussion was, how do we select these individuals? I think Ms. Gill had a question too, she's been on all the workshops, but how do you select these folks? How are we gonna pick and choose who gets these, however, 250 housing units out there? So these are all questions, again, that these workshops provided, that, we've got our first meeting since those workshops next week. So these are all good questions that we definitely need to address, and, yeah.
I just know with our local workforce, if you're getting a 2-bedroom house, which granted it's workforce, they're not gonna be able to afford a $1,400 a
Right,
month
right.
rent payment out of it. That's more what I'm paying in the house I'm living in. You know what I mean? That's a lot.
Yeah, I
more.
pay less than that for my mortgage.
That's a
But
lot
I've
of
had my
money.
house a long time.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, I get it's gotta be something, and I know there are a lot of, the few apartments locally that are for rent monthly are pretty steep. That's why most of them were never rented out.
Right. Well, I've seen not to bash anybody, but a single wide trailer that, all they did was go in and fix the inside, the outside, doesn't look
Looks
the
the same.
best. $2,800 a month. So,
Anyway, that
yeah.
was just my concern. I want to share it with you here.
I appreciate that, Chairman.
All right. Any commissioner comments? Or additional comments? Boy, St. Joe Gas is tearing me up today. Meeting adjourned.